did before. What you brand new, yeah, it's time to go pro. Go beast mode, better find a cheat code. On my phone, now I'm in my zone. Man, it looks better than it did before. I said if play don't stop, just do your thing, and you know you gon' be on top. It's my game, it's your game. Say it now, let the whole world watch. I said if play don't stop, just keep it going, and you know you gon' be on top. It's my game, it's your game. Go ahead, let them talk.
One.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a warm welcome to all of you at AMD presents Skysports GRANDSLAM. Logitech, our gaming partner, and Loco, our broadcasting partner. With this is going to be me, Darshita, and alongside I have my amazing co-caster Raider. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing amazing at this point. I'm literally seeking out day number 5 right now because we never knew that this day is going to come so soon. It's like just now we started the grand finale. It's like just now we started the whole fights coming up eventually. But we are going at day number 5 right now. It's the start. It's the beginning of a carnage. It's the beginning of a day where we are going to see, let's say, close to 10 to 5% of the teams which are going to be on the top of the list, and eventually some teams which are giving a great comeback. If we talk about the yesterday's game, I guess Ashita, you would agree that teams like Soul, teams like GodL, well, they are rising a lot at this point. And teams like Exo and Celsius, meanwhile, are maintaining their consistency. But there is one team I would like to talk about. That's going to be 8-bit. Look at the consistency they have got. No chicken dinners, but still on the top at this point.
Man, oh man, I mean, the previous days are just like what is happening. Each and every passing day, we come on this desk and we eventually feel like every day there is something new happening, a
Oh,
new
indeed.
face is what we see. I do agree completely that at the start of everything, we always kept on saying that, Team Exo and Team Celsius are fighting a different battle. They are just fighting it out to rule the charts. But what happened? Team Soul. Oh my god. This team that went from 13th to hashtag 3 position is right now leading the charts. Well, talking about the charts, we will be heading towards the overall standing very soon.
Yeah.
But what a game it has been. And you just said a while ago that day 5, we can't even imagine that this day would come so early, right, Raider?
Indeed, indeed. We never expected that this is going to happen so early because it's just like, let's say, 12 days scenario was there for us right now. Eventually, the semi finale was there for 5 days, and eventually, if I talk about the grand finale, we had let's say 17 days. Sorry, 7 days to be exact, but eventually 5 days, 4 days to be exact from grand finale has already been passed right now, and now just 3 more days to go. After that, the championship trophy will be there into the hands of the best bragging rights willing team. Eventually, before that, let's talk about the prize pool distribution. Well, that's going to be massive, 15 lakh rupees INR.
15 lakh INR is on stake. Let me just split it out for you guys. The champions of AMD presents Sky Esports GRANDSLAM gets a right on 8 lakh rupees. The second position, the first runner-up gets 3 lakh. The second runner-up gets 1 lakh 50,000. The fourth place team gets 50,000. The fifth place gets 25, and the sixth place eventually gets 25. But Raider, here the most interesting part is the MVP, the individual rewards that you get for being the most aggressive player, being the most valuable player of the entire tournament, and that is a single player gets 1 lakh rupees, and the team that's going to be the most aggressive ones gets 50 lakhs or 50,000 for themselves.
Oh, indeed. The massive prize pool with the massive prize pool distribution, the ups and downs in the prize pool, it's going to be really interesting. Well, Sky Esports is granting and let's say punishing those teams also which are going aggressive, and those teams also which are actually being passive and let's say a strategic one which are getting the, let's say, leaderboard table topper starts at this point. So yeah, both of the teams are going to get rewarded eventually. If I talk about the aggressiveness, well, you are going to get with 50,000 rupees, and if I talk about the most aggressive, the most the player with the most number of finishes is going to get 1 lakh rupees title. But eventually, before that, let's talk about the point system. At the winner chicken dinner, or should I say the victor of the map is going to get 15 points for themselves. Runner up is going to get 12 points. Third position will get you 10 points. Fourth position, 8 points. Fifth, 6 points. Six positions at 4 points, and seventh position will get you 2 points. But I guess, Darshita, the teams coming from hashtag 8 to 12 and 13 to 20 are not getting a lot of points at this moment.
They are just going to accumulate points on the basis of finishes that they take,
Mhm.
right? So yes, it's just like one finish you take for yourself will get you one single point. But
Yeah.
these 16 teams fighting, man oh man, before the grand finales, and I would really like to, you just need to bow down for them right now. It's like 7 days of hard work, 7 days of playing 6 maps per day, giving everything is not an easy task to do. And this 16 teams, man oh man, they have done their level best. Well, talking about 16 teams, let me introduce you once again to our grand finals team. Celsius Esports, Team Mayavi, Team Entity, Team Exo, 8-Bit, Orangutan, Team Soul, Godlike, Team Nugget, Skylightz Gaming, Enigma Gaming, Team Forever, Chemin Esports, 7 Seas, Velocity, and Team TSM.
Oh, the best of the best. The cream of Indian gaming community is already here right now. Look at that. A battle for massive 15 lakh rupees prize pool. And before that, you are going to get the bragging rights of winning this AMD Presents Sky Esports Grand Slam season number 2. Well, it's going to be really interesting. These are the teams invited, or let's say a few of the teams, let's say 6 teams have been invited. Teams like Soul, teams like Velocity, teams like Godlike, teams like, let's say, this one, that 7C Esports, and team TSM and the team Chemin was invited in the lobby. But eventually, if I talk about 10 teams which were qualified, well, that would be team Mayavi, team Enigma, Exo, and so on and on. As these teams competing with the best of the best lobby is going to be very interesting right now. We have already been past, let's say, 4 days of the carnage, 4 days of the fights. Now it's going to be amazing to watch at how the retaliation will be there in between the leaderboard. But before that, the leaderboard is here right now. Overall rankings after match number 24. The standings are here for you guys. And the Rocket, the team Soul, is already on the top with 4 massive chicken dinners. And let's say position points is going to be 140, and this is one hell of aggressive team. Well, Godlike is another team which is leading the charts in terms of aggression. But if I talk about the whole point system, Team Soul is surely but shortly leading the charts at this point.
I do completely agree with that. Out of all that you said, I completely agree on one more point, the consistency of Team 8-Bit. Look at them. They haven't even got one chicken dinner, one victory for themselves. But where are they? They are in the top 5. They are at the 5th position with a total of 2-7. Whereas Skylightz Gaming, they got a total of 2-7 after winning 3 chicken dinners. The only 3 teams to get 4 victories for themselves are going to be Team Soul, Team Exo, and Team Celsius Esports. And look at the downfall. It's not completely a downfall, but somewhere Celsius Esports, that was just leading the chart right now, is at the 3rd position. Team Exo still maintaining, still trying to figure out of how can they take back the hashtag 1 to themselves, whereas Team Godlike, the most aggressive team, and the reason being is they got 122 finishes. Man oh man, this team has just decided to destroy things. They are just looking forward to go as aggressive as they can. But position points is something that they really need to look forward to right now.
Oh, indeed. The position points. Let's say the strategies you have to build to get that position points. It's going to be really amazing to watch that how these teams are going to postulate new strategies to eventually get the position points. But teams like Team Forever, after getting one good chicken dinner, in their perspective, is lacking behind. Teams like Team Mayavi is also lacking behind. Well, they have got the hashtag 10 position, but I guess leading the leaderboard table toppers chart is going to be a little bit difficult for them, because the team which is on the top is leading with 102 points as compared to teams like Team Mayavi. If I talk about Enigma Gaming, 100 distance will be there to cover. Team Nugget, after getting one chicken dinner, is passive right now. Teams like 7C Esports, well, teams like this, Darshita, are worrying me out at this point, because getting 2 victories, getting 2 winner chicken dinners was good enough. But then what about the consistency?
I mean, yes, we do always talk about it, right? We say that victory is something that you need to get for yourself. Yes, that is a another level of happiness that you get. But after that, you have to be consistent on the upcoming match, and then only I guess you'll be able to accumulate something that you got for yourself. And right now, if you ask me, Raider, in my opinion, I will really say that to be honest, these teams need to have their eyes on top 6. You know, right? The prize pool split that we just saw a while ago is
Indeed.
splitting up in top 6 position. You get something till you are on the top 6, but after
Oh,
that,
indeed.
it's all about you learning things and nothing else.
Oh, indeed. You are not going to lose anything. You are either going to win it or learn from it. So
Yeah,
that is going to
that's
be the
true.
case at this point, and it's going to be very amazing to watch that how the intensity of the fights are going to pacify. And if I talk about teams like Entity and teams like Velocity, well, Velocity is the only team which has not crossed the triple digit marker at this point, and that is something I'm worried about because they have to cross it, man. It's, let's say, 4 days have been passed. Now 3 days are only left right now. Only 18 matches are going to be there for these teams. So let's see how the fights are going to postulate for Team Velocity Gaming and teams like Team Entity to gain the pace in the lobby eventually. And if I talk about the whole hashtag 9 to hashtag 15 situation, one good match would actually land them to hashtag 9 easily.
I am looking forward to that. The teams that have got not a single chicken dinner, that's going to be Enigma, Chemin, Entity, Velocity, whereas 8-bit as well. If I'm not wrong, 8-bit got 0 victories. But yes, I am sure for the fact that they are still on the very first side of the overall standing. I'm looking forward to them to at least get one chicken dinner for themselves. We know, right? These teams are really aggressive. They can, if they really put everything that they have, if they do something out of the box, they
Indeed.
can make that happen. So I'm just looking for that one comeback where we can see these teams having zero on that chicken dinner mark. At least one chicken dinner is something that I am really looking forward to right now.
Oh yeah, the chicken dinners, the fights, the carnage which is gonna be there in day number 5. Well, I would like to repeat it again and again. It's day number 5. It's gonna be a new beginning for these teams eventually. Yesterday also we saw a new phase coming up. We never expected teams like Team Nugget to bounce back, but yeah, that happened. Before that, let's talk about the top fragger situation. Well, we have TSM Saquanox leading the charge from past 3 days with 43 amazing finishes, and the team contribution is going to be 38.39%. That's a massive one. And if I talk about Team Godlike, well, there we go. Jonathan lacking behind with only one finish. I guess he's going to get that today. But yeah, with the team contribution is going to be 34.43 because yesterday we saw that how the teamwork works for teams like GodL and teams like Team Soul. Because the teamwork, the contribution, the consistency, and let's say the coordination which these teams are having at this point, it is something to grasp from.
I am looking forward to Gamla Boy and Madman. 32 and 31. Yes, it's completely like a 10-point difference if we talk about Gamla Boy and Jonathan, or if we talk about Gamla Boy and TSM Equinox, it's like more than 10 finishes. But we know, right? This player, we have seen him performing in the semi-finales. We have seen him performing overall in the grand finales till the 24th map, and we know how aggressive these players can go. 8-bit Madman with a total of 31. His name itself says that this man is crazy, and if he decides to do that,
Mhm.
well, he the opponents needs to be really careful. So yes, these are going to be the top five fraggers, but the only thing that is a bit of common is the contribution level. Like look at
Indeed.
that, 30 to in between 30 to 40% is the contribution level. This directly means that not just these players, but their entire team has just decided to destroy things. Overall, well, talking more about the schedule that we have on our screens, Erangel, Miramar, again Erangel, Miramar, Senok, and Erangel. What do you have to say about this, reader?
Oh, the first map, the map where you actually are born in the game of BGMI, it's going to be Wrangle, where you're going to head out into battle with 16 teams, 64 players, where the carnage will set out for you initially. But eventually, if I talk about the match number 2, you are going to see a bummer map that's going to be Miramar, an open ridge map, open area fights coming up. Third parties are going to be there. Well, third parties before that, you are going to see 4 parties, 5 parties coming up really very soon. But eventually, if I talk about one map which is going to change a lot of things in the whole day, it's going to be the map of Sanok because you never know what is going to happen. 8 to 10 teams can be there out of the zone, going doctor doctor, playing for the heal battles, playing with the med kits, playing with the health kits at this point. And eventually, if I talk about 1 or 2 teams after, let's say, the 6 or 7 zone gets passed, you are going to see a lot of, let's say, emotes going on in the lobby because eventually when you have a good number of finishes and a good number of points and then you are the last man standing in the zone, you are going to put some emotes, you are going to put some funny things in the lobby because eventually getting that kind of engagement in the lobby is going to be really very interesting because yeah, we know that we have a lot of members still left in the lobby, but they are way out of the zone. They are going for the heal battle. They are not going to contest you. So you are easily going to get that victory. It's all about who is going to be the runner up now.
Yeah, I am. I'm completely agreeing on that point. I mean, yes, we talk about the map of Senok. We always say heal battles. We always, keep on saying the highest number of health kit that I saw was N number XXX number, whatever
Mhm.
number it is. But to be honest, I guess Senok is a map where the fights are most crucial. Right now,
Yeah.
right? It's a small map compared when you compare it to Miramar and Erangel. It's a 4 by 4 map. It's a complete small map full of bushes. full of places that you can definitely be hiding yourself and not coming into anyone's eye till the time you decide to give them a surprise. Yes, I do agree with that. But what about your rotations? You know that when you are passing by, when your vehicle is passing by some other teams, some other compounds, you can easily, they can easily hear you, right? That's the most difficult part about this overall map, being a small map comparatively. And one more point that I would like to highlight about this map is, what if the 60% of the zone is eliminated in the first half itself? What are you going to do next? So
Oh
yeah, there
yeah.
are multiple what ifs. And what if this is going to happen, what if that's going to happen. But talking more about the very first map right now, that is going to be the map of Erangel. And this map is a house to is a home to these players.
Indeed.
You get a homely feeling. It's just like you can wait around, you can be pinpoint precise on your rotation. But again, it depends upon the fly path trajectory, it depends upon the very first play zone that is all on your screen.
Well, rightly said, it all depends on the first flight path coming up and then eventually the first play zone coming up right now. First two zones, let's say if a centric one, then you are going to see a lot of shift coming in the third zone, and then after that third and fourth zone will be passive for you, but then fifth zone will again play with your charm, and then again you have to contest in the zone right now. So this is the kind of intensity which we see in the map of Erangel. Again, I'm looking forward to it, that how the map is going to pan out, how the fights are going to pan out at this point. I'm just eagerly waiting for the player cam to come in to see those happy, jolly faces once again after 15-16 hours. They have racked up their seriousness. They have got some good new skills, new strategies developing for them, because if the past day was not that good for them, I guess this is the day when they are going to come back. If that past day was really very good for them, then this is the day they are going to maintain the consistency. So yeah, 16 teams, 64 players, each and every one has to do a job at this point to get that leaderboard into their favor, because all of the fights are after all for the leaderboard at this point.
Leaderboard is what matters the most at the
Yeah.
end of the day. And moreover, as you said, that right now there are just 3 days left. This is the fifth day itself, and after this day comes to an end, we are going to be left with only 2 days remaining. Just imagining the situation, just it's like butterflies in my stomach right now.
Oh,
It's
indeed.
like what is going to happen, who is going to be that team who is going to be leading the charge today itself. Because after today's day come to an end, we are at least somewhere like 5%, the visions that are completely blood right now, it will be like 5% clear compared to what it is right now. So yeah, if you really wish to get yourself something out of this entire tournament, out of this tournament, yes, you get to learn much more. But
Mm-hmm.
moreover, learning, if you want something in that some chunk of that prize pool, you need to be aiming towards the top 6 position.
Oh,
That's
indeed.
all that I can say. Top 6, or at least the MVP or the most aggressive team. These are the prizes that we have right now. A huge prize pool of 15 lakh, as we have been repeating ourselves on. But after all this, audience, well, I would once again like to tell you guys that if you haven't downloaded Loco, you are going to miss a lot of actions happening. But let me focus on the head to head right now between GodL Jonathan and Soul Akshat. Finishes 42 for Jonathan, 35 for Akshat, whereas contribution 34.43% for Jonathan, and it's going to be 30.43% for Akshat.
Oh, that's a massive comparison at this point. It's gonna be a head-to-head battle coming up really very soon, because if we talk about Jonathan, we'll look at the number of finishes he has got right now. He is really very serious about the aggression which he holds at this point. And the other team which is going to compete with him is going to be Team Souls Akshat at this point. He has got 35 finishes. That's interesting to watch, but eventually the team contribution is also at 30.43%. That's good enough. But eventually, if we talk about the winner-winner chicken dinner situations, well, this is the situation when Team Godlike is looking a little bit behind, because they've got only 2 chicken dinner. And if I talk about Team Soul, the Rockets are into their favor because they've got 4 amazing finishes. It's going to be interesting that how this day is going to pan out, how today's fights are going to put the marker on the results, because now you are going to see a lot of shifts in the leaderboard. Teams coming from the backdrop areas are trying to aim for that charm, trying to aim for that, let's say, higher level of points. Getting more points into their favor is going to be the main thing for them. Eventually, let's see how this day is going to pan out. And any predictions about that, Darshita?
I am just looking forward for a comeback from Team Nugget. I really do wish, this team, they are not invited. They have qualified. They have fought
Oh,
it
of
out
course.
from the beginning itself. It's not just semi-finales or grand finales. No, they have registered. They have played the qualifiers, the round 1 to round 5. Then they made an entry to the quarterfinals. After playing real hard to the quarterfinals, they made an entry to the semi-finales, and right now they are competing with top 15 teams they have in front of them. So yes, I do wish Team Nugget, especially, we do have eyes on these qualified team who has just made a long way to
Oh, indeed.
be here. So yeah, I really wish to see Team Nugget getting that comeback. Just wishing to see them getting those chicken dinner. Eventually, Team Mayavi as well. We
Yeah.
know this team. We know the aggression this team has. We know each and everything. So yes, the play style that these players are adapting themselves to right now is not something that I've been seeing since a long time. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we have seen them being aggressive, but right now, Team Mayavi, I guess they are on the second side up there. I mean, on the 11th position. I'm not yet sure. A bit confused of the overall standings, but yes, somewhere that is the situation happening. So yes, I'm looking forward to really some miracles happening, and I guess with that my camera is just facing some technical issues. It doesn't want the audience to let know my excitement right now.
Oh, we both have a lot of excitement coming up along with Arka, which is going to join us really very soon in match number 3 and 4. But eventually, you are going to see a lot of contestment. Well, the excitement is not only for the caster, it's for you guys also. Because when we talk about the whole fights, the enthusiasm, your favorite players putting a battle in this map, it's really very interesting how the fights pan out, and really very interesting that how much you can learn from these things. So yeah, we along with the, let's say, Darshita, and along with the whole Sky Sports team is going to let you know that our broadcasting partner is Loco. So eventually, if you want to learn a lot from this whole battle, this whole let's say battleground coming up for you, you just go and download Loco app, and eventually just follow us onto the Sky Sports Hindi, English, and Kannada, where the broadcastings are going on in the regional language. If you want to watch in Hindi, there we go. We have casters over there also. You are going to enjoy the casting. Eventually, if you want to see us in the English one, you are going to see Sky Sports English one, and if you talk about the Kannada one, you can just go ahead and follow there also and watch the whole stream into a regional language and get that initial, let's say, homely feeling for you. So eventually, you can just enjoy the game and learn a lot from it, because this is just like we earlier talked about, best of the best. But with this, we have the best of the best player cam also coming for you. So let's talk about the whole situation coming up. Look at that team, Orangutan, Team Celsius, already prepping up their carnage, already prepping up their fights at this point. And there we go, Snacks just diving onto his phone, so that eventually the whole of the game sense will be there right now for him. Team Mayavi is also trying to be ready. Team NTT Gaming lurking in the shadows at this point, has to climb up. What do you think about Darshita, these things?
Best of the best is something that is stuck in my head right now. And talking more about the fly path trajectory, the flight is refueled. So are we with all our energies, and the fly path is somewhere a diagonal fly path that we are seeing. Pochinki school. Yasna to directly Kamesh ki up there. So after seeing this flight path, I do get a feeling of these players getting an equal opportunity to get down to their primary drop location, and then I guess somewhere initial fight is something that I'm not really expecting at this point of time. But right, military base. It's a home for two teams. That's Velocity and Chemin Esports. So may or may not be. It's just a few minutes gap, and we get to know everything.
Oh, indeed. The few minutes gap, let's say before 10 minutes marker, you are going to see a lot of wreckage coming up for one or two teams. But before that, Dashra, you said military base is home for two teams. That's going to be Team Chemin Esports and Team Velocity, I guess. But before that, we also have one more team going to contest the whole situation, and that's going to be Team Orangutan. Look at that. They are going to hold the bridge compounds, and with that, they are going to put a lot of courage for the teams. Let's see how the fights is going to pan out right now, because we can already see Team Velocity is jumping onto the areas, jumping onto the fights. So let's see what is going to happen. I don't see the Chemin Esports marker coming up really very soon. I guess they might have changed the drop location, so that eventually, yeah, there we go. Chemin Esports is dropping very far away from the drop locations, and this is what I was talking about, Darshita, that learning new strategies. Oh, a northern zone. What do you think about that, Darshita?
This is going to cause a lot of problems in rotations. This is all I'm thinking right now. Look at the play zone. Sivarni is something that I expect from the last zone, like the zone shifting towards Sivarni. And out of all these, Team Entity right now has a great advantage. They are looking really good to the areas. If they travel to Sevani, I guess for 1 or 2 zone at least they can be probably at a greater place. But talking more about
Mm-hmm.
Chemin Esports and their drop clashes, firstly it was the sides of Team Velocity in military base, but right now it's going to be Team Nugget once again. Destro and Team Nugget, they are still in their parachutes trying to go away from each other, but that is not happening for them. And there you go,
Oh,
Destro is just down. What happened,
oh, the
Max?
vehicles.
The vehicle was all onto his face, and this is how Team Celsius will be losing one of their player at an initial stages. Team Exo Panku will be the one taking one for his entire team. Team Celsius, not a really good start for them, whereas Team Exo really happy with what they got for themselves at the beginning 2 minutes itself.
These two teams, well, contesting from past 3 or 4 days, let's say, trying
Yeah,
to be at the top of the location. Well, Team Celsius has lost one good guy of team. Let's say it's going to be very tiring for them to actually, let's say, recuperate from that situation. But if I talk about Team EXO, well, they are going to look very sharp at this point, because getting one finish this early in the fight, it is going to be really very interesting for them. Eventually, if I talk about Vixie and the other guys, they are also trying to retaliate. And if I talk about Team Nugget, well, there we go. From Team Nugget, Nugget is going to be there right now with a good micro Uzi in his hand right now. He's going to climb onto the, let's say, that building, and if that is possible, he might just turn up really very bad for Destro. But at this point, Destro has M16A4. It is not going to impact a lot, if we say, because in close range you have seen micro Uzi. The fire rate, the fire speed of micro Uzi is way good, way far better as compared to Team Chemin's Destro right now. Because now look at that, Team Nugget has an upper ridge. He's going to scout out really early. Let's see what eventually is going to pan out. There we go, Destro can be picked off, and yeah, that's what happened. Destro goes down with a brutal blow. Shotgun will be there, and with that, I guess with S1987, one guy has been picked off. Delta PG is going to be there right now. Look at that, the Slammin is going to be there in time soon. He could be crushed on from the vehicle. Oh, look at the intensity coming up. He is way too damaged. Chemin Esports Delta PG is way too much damage. Oh, the headshots, that was amazing, man, oh man. And Nugget has been picked off. Well, Darshita, I would like to say one thing. This was not the fight to lose.
Oh my god. Destro, yes, Chemin Esports lost one of their players, but Delta PG. At the moment this guy was out of his vehicle, I just thought that it's done. But
Indeed.
no, Delta PG just made it work into his favor, and that is how Team Nugget will be losing Nugget itself. So it's going to be a 3v3 fight between both of these teams. But once again, the players are having a split, and the reason that these teams are losing one of their players is just going to be the split. The split is something that gives you an advantage. Yes, I completely agree with that. You get an advantage to gather and accumulate as much as information as you can, but moreover, you just saw what happened right now. So that is going to be the case. Moreover, talking about the sides of team the teams at Yasnaya, that's going to be team Godlike, and there's no one right now at Yasnaya other than Godlike, there's 4 players: Jonathan, Neo, Gil, and Clutch God. They are looking good with everything that they want. They are patching themselves. They are just packing up everything in the bag that they want, and I guess they are into the play zones already. So it's not so much of mess that they have. So not so much of thinking of rotations or something. No, it's just a complete add a piece situation. Just finding yourself all that you need, and just looking forward and waiting for the upcoming zone shrink.
Oh, indeed. At this point, loot is going to be the major concern for all of the teams. Well, we have seen some initial clashes. Well, that is because the clashes were there. Teams were dropping in separate locations because the flight part played a crucial role in that kind of clash. But eventually, if we talk about the whole mentality of the teams at this point, it's going to be to loot up initially. And then eventually, if the clash is there, they are going to aggress. We have never seen a team in these 16 teams to actually just go with the guns placing and fight it out. Well, that is the map when Sanok actually plays a crucial role. In the map of Sanok, you have seen Orangutan and Team Forever fighting it out in the initial zone, in the initial minute of dropping. But in these two maps, map of Miramar, well, the situation is way too different. The teams are going passive initially, and then eventually, if a clash is there, if some kind of clash is there, then they are going to fight it out. Then they are going to retaliate. If I talk about Team Mayavi, well, there we go. Entity is noob. I'm really very sorry about that. Entity's noob could be contested anytime soon, but with some good M16 tap shots, Joker has been contested at this point, and I guess Team Mayavi is going to find some kind of higher ridge from which they can retaliate, or they just might rotate at this point.
Rotation is something that can be avoided, and this fight can work into their favor. What I mean is, right now, Team Mayavi needs to rackle up points for themselves. And rackling up points doesn't mean that you get away from fight and go for position points. It's just the fight that you need to take, so that at the end of the day you accumulate both the aspects completely. And that is something that I have been looking for. But right now it looks like, yes, Team Mayavi has decided to not get into an initial fight, rather wait for a good opportunity and then get into a fight. Yes, the second option is pretty working in their favors, but Team Entity, they had a soft cover to work around with. But out of all this happening, once again, one more fight.
Oh,
Team
man.
Mayavi, Edmino caught there. Edmino is down to the ground, not just down, but he's been eliminated completely. And this is something I was really scared about. Team Mayavi, they managed to get out of that fight, but what happened next? They just dashed into Team Soul right now, and they already have lost one of their players.
Oh, I guess now their souls are going to be snatched really very soon by the Team Soul at this point. Look at that. Nakul is there right now. Let's see how the cover is going to be there for Rem. And eventually, if we talk about Team Mayavi, they have managed to put 2 down. But Akshat, the top fragger, the competitor for top fragger is going to be here right now anytime soon. He's just trying to tag out at this point. He's just holding a very great location. But then where we go. Soul, Pew Pew, Goblin and Player 3 as well has been picked off. And if I talk about Akshat, look at the kind of damage he's been dealing at this point. I guess it's going to be the end of Team Soul really very soon. And if Soul Akshat does something, oh, Nakul managed to put that final nail into the coffin. With that, Team Mayavi successfully puts 1 down from the lobby, and now you can see that before the end of 8 minutes, you have Team Soul already going out from the lobby right now, and this is really very bad, really very harsh rattling for the fans, and eventually for me also, because Team Soul is going to get only 1 point, and that too for the aggression. That's it for them. 256 points in the match number 25. After the match number 25 leaderboard coming up from them. But if I talk about Team 8-bit, despite of not getting even a single chicken dinner, this team has managed to be in the top 4, top 5 location for a far longer time. And if I talk about Team Orangutan, well, the semi-finale rulers are here right now. Let's see how they are going to pan it out. 8-bit Raid has been picked up with a brutal brew right now. I guess Raid could be contested anytime soon. Ash is going to go ham onto the fight right now. Let's see, is Ash been able to actually take that fight into his favor right now, because the zone is also going to punch really very harshly. Look at that. Trigger is already trying to cook a nade. There we go. A nade was there, but I guess the connection will not be made because they are lurking in the shadows. But this nade, Miramar, 3 players are again down right off from Team 8-bit. Highest Team Orangutan is going to crash. Look at that. A lot of new faces are trying to turn the tables into their perspective, and just like that, Team Orangutan got 4 amazing frags into their perspective without losing a single player, without getting a lot of utilities burned out. And this is it for Team 8-bit.
Team 8-bit, Team Soul, 2 teams getting eliminated. Pretty shocking for us, right? We are really not expecting such a start to a day, but out of all this happening, there's still 2 or 1 player from Chemin Esports. That's going to be Papa Nahi Mane. What a beautiful name these players have. But yes, he's right now surviving. Team Nugget managed to take 1 out of the fight that was happening before. But right now, look at the players. Everyone is trying to rotate towards Rozok, but I still do have that strong feeling of the zone denying everything and going towards the areas of Sivani or shooting range. I am not sure of what is exactly to happen, but right now Team Enigma and Team GodL is mostly to have a fight. There you go. Clutch God is looking forward to have some tap, to have some M16A4 shots connected on the sides of Team Enigma, but that is not going to work into his favor. Right now, Team GodL, they need some finishes, but moreover, they need position points. If they try and accumulate a 3-digit mark into position points, they might find themselves in the top 3 or top 4, and that is something all their fans are looking forward to. So yes, that can be the case. Out of all this happening, GodL Neo will be finding a drop and enjoying the party himself, getting back to his team. But the fights, they are all set on their way. Out of all this happening, Team 7C, that's going to be Savitara and Sarang at the front foot, and 2 players back there waiting for more and more information.
Yeah, the informations are going to play a vital role at this moment, because informations like visual clues, whatever you see, all the rotations going from left and right, in front and forward, and eventually if I talk about the sound cues, whatever the vehicle noise you see, like what kind of vehicle is there, eventually if you see a buggy sound coming for you, you already know that maximum 2 players are going to be there to contest. So these are the cues you have to look forward to, and eventually in this kind of lobby, everybody is going to put down all the visual clues and all the, let's say, sound clues at this point into the consideration, so that eventually a battle is there into the favor. And if we talk about Team Forever, well, next is match का OS बोलते and QI10 is going to set for the battle really very soon. Well, they have let's say close to 3 teams, very close at this point. This can be a very deadly triangle for them, because Team Mayavi is lurking in the shadows, holding a good compound at this point. If I talk about Team Enigma, they are also in the compound right now, but that's just two-story, two building compound, so I guess that compound is not that advantageous for them as compared to Team Mayavi's one. But if I talk about Team Forever, well, they are way too open, and I guess they are eagerly waiting for the clashes coming up. OG Ash falls from the vehicle, and I guess Darshita, that's for you.
Why, Ash? Why? We do it's for once, but we do see this happening every day. Every day, at least
Oh,
one
indeed.
player goes down to his own vehicle, and I completely agree for a fact that's just a reason of these players panicking. I mean, you have some bullets onto yourself, and to just dodge those bullets, you just jump out of that vehicle. But eventually, what happens next is you get down to the ground itself.
Yeah.
I mean, you are dodging one thing, but eventually getting trapped in the other is something that must be avoided. But yes, the upcoming zone shift will tell different stories at any moment. Everyone is trying to hold the areas between Rozok and Siverny. Rozok, yes, a good compounded area, but I do still feel like the Siverny area is something that Siverny or shooting range, not completely Siverny, maybe shooting range as well. But on the other side, Team Entity is getting into one more fight, whereas Jonathan onto our screens right now is looking forward, is just waiting for information, but. What a zone prediction. Right now, Siverny,
Indeed.
the eastern sides of Siverny is something that the zone has shifted towards, and it's going to be really an interesting rotation from all these players.
Oh, now the rotations are going to play a vital role, and you are going to see a lot of carnage, lot of wreckage, lot of rotational clashes coming up for you. And eventually, if I talk about Team EXO, holding a very good location is going to be the key for them to succeed in this kind of map. Snack Spears, and I guess that's Panku coming really very soon. Sensei, the IGL, is going to formulate a new strategy for the team. And if I talk about another contestant, well, there we go. Team Celsius trying to be the leaderboard table topper is just here right now. Sensei, meanwhile, is trying to destroy Team Velocity. At this point, Team Velocity is going to get contested very soon. And if we talk about Panku, well, there we go. Panku is going to hold the shack, through which he's going to get some good covers and eventually try to retaliate, try to get the fights into his perspective. And if I talk about the number of rotations coming up, Team 7C, Team EXO, Team GodL, well, n number of teams are there right now. Cutting a rotation, being in the zone is going to be the only aim for these teams right now. But Team Celsius manages to put one down, and that's going to be Team Velocity's Kratos saying goodbye to the lobby. And with this, I guess Team Velocity is going to lose a very good grasp of the lobby, and I guess this is it for them. Team Velocity will try to retaliate, but I guess after losing one player of this team, after losing the one player of their team, I guess Team Velocity is seen to get decimated, seen to get, let's say, deformed eventually very, very soon. So let's see how these fights are going to pan out for Team Velocity. And if I talk about Team Godlike, well, they are going to get the covers of compounds and some covers of towers also. And if I talk about Sensei, the IGL, well, he's trying to retaliate. Clutch God goes down. Oh, that's a sad thing for Team GodL right now. This is, I guess, really very tiring for the team right now. If I talk about, look at that, 7C Spray God. After getting damage from 7C's, EXO Sensei, GodL's, I guess, some other guy manages to put him down, and with this, I guess the whole fight, which was going so eagerly, it's going to get decimated a lot right now. Look at that, Team 7C is going to get that cover, but is it possible for them or not? That's going to be the major concern.
Right now, they are looking forward to revive Clutch God back to his life, as that is going to be the most important part. And look at that, Jonathan is all set there, and whereas Jonathan is just eliminating one player. Oh my god, Jonathan taking back the second one. 3 finishes is what GodL got for themselves, and right now they are looking good, and Clutch God can be revived back to his life. But Team 7C, they again lost 3 of their players. On the other side, OG Pehchan Con with that grenade will be taking one player on from Skylightz Gaming. Pehchan Con, another one for him. Pukar will be taking Trigger down there. Savitar, he is looking forward for more and more information. Does believe that he can take Pukar completely off. But Gamla Boy will be taking Ash down. Believe is looking forward to take a 1v1 with Pukar. He manages to put Pukar back down to his knees. And right now, reviving 2 of his teammates is going to be important. But I doubt Ash can be revived back. And there you go. Gamla Boy will be looking forward to confirming that player there and just making a run for his life. Getting out of the blues, getting the whites is the main point of concern right now.
Oh, indeed. Getting into the whites and getting a good placement in the zone is going to be the main concern. But if we talk about Trigger, look at the zone damage they are dealing at this point, and that is why they have to possibly just be in the zone. And if we talk about Pehchan Con, he is also trying to just be in the zone. He has got the Kupa G, but eventually let's see what is going to happen. But the center of attraction is going to be Team EXO right now. Look at that. We have a slamming coming up really very soon. Team Mayavi's players are trying to just rotate into the shacks, into the verges, so that eventually the battle will be there into the favor. If we talk about Team Forever, well, they are also trying their real best to be in the zone. Team Skylightz Gaming has been wiped out by the the zone, that's a really very tiring sight to watch. Eventually, if you are unable to take a fight and just get eliminated by zone, that is something you have to watch out. And yeah, Team Skylightz Gaming goes out with only one finishes. That is not the thing which they were aiming for, because yesterday they did a great job of getting, let's say, good points. But eventually, if I talk about this day, start is not that good, but eventually we have 5 more maps for them and 5 more maps for teams like Team Soul, teams like some other teams which have been wiped out at this point. They are going to get 5 more maps. Each and every team is going to get 5 more maps. So yeah, we are going to see a lot of contestment coming up. Because before that, Snacks goes down with the same DP which he likes to play with.
Snacks goes down. That's Team EXO losing one of their players. Fierce, look at this guy. He is running really low on his HP. Celsius Dreams will be taking one on TSM. Ninja Jord. Neo from GodL. He is trying his level best to scout for more information. But right now, it's a team call that come back, my friend, will play together and will make it happen into our favors. Jonathan, he is working with an inner wall cover for himself. That is much needed. But look at Neo. He'll be making sure to take Savitar off completely with a beautiful angle that he was holding. And right now he has all his crosshairs set onto the sides of Team Enigma, but GodL from the other angle will be taking Enigma Eggy down there. Team 7C has been eliminated completely. NTT Dark Lord will be taking VLT Slayer down. Neo trying his level best to spray as much as he can into those smokes with the hope of taking at least one player down, and there you go. I guess one confirmation is what Team no, confirmation is not something that they got. The player was revived back to his life, but once again, look at Jonathan. Look at this man.
Oh, it's interesting that how this guy plays out with the fight right now. But if I talk about Atanki, well, he also goes down with the hands of Team Entity, and another nade is going to form right now really very soon. Let's see what Team Enigma does right now. I guess this nade could turn really very ugly, but there we go. Connections were not there. I guess the covers which they are going to get with some hardcore vehicles is going to lift them a lot eventually. If I talk about another nade comes up, this could be it, Jonathan. Oh, he's at 0 HP at this point. Look at the HP he's going to hold at this point. This could have been the end. Jonathan actually managed to put one down from Team Enigma. That's great for him. Eventually, Team Jonathan is going to cook another nade, but there we go. Jonathan has been contested from the right side, and that's going to be Team Enigma Segi, which is trying to retaliate, but I guess Gil is there for the revival. That's interesting how Team GodL is retaliating with the fight. Yesterday also this happened. The players were trying to fight out way too opened up, but then the retaliation, or should I say the kind of gun game they are trying to rehabilitate, it's really very interesting. Another nade goes on. This nade was a bit short-sighted. If the nade was there exactly where the prior nade was, I guess Team GodL's 2 good guys have been picked off by that nade. Jonathan could have been taken down. Gil have been taken down. But yeah, with that, Enigma is trying to postulate a potion. But let's see how is it going to be possible, because Jonathan is lurking in the shadows. Staying behind a tree is going to be the main objective. But Gil is trying to cook more and more nades, throwing more and more utilities at this point. But eventually, I guess the utilities are going to burn up, and Team Enigma versus Team GodL is going to get a postulation very very soon. But Jonathan comes up with a brutal bow. He managed to put one down. Let's see how the fights are going to proceed from this angle.
One player down to the ground and completely eliminated. That's going to be Team Enigma with 3 surviving players for themselves.
Oh, indeed.
He has a soft cover, but that soft cover is not going to last long, and that is something that he needs to be really careful about. Out of all this happening, Team Mayavi, they found themselves a small shack, but once again, one incoming grenade in those shack can just cause them their death, and that is something that they need to be careful about. But Punk, he has all his crosshairs set to the sides of Joker, and any moment Joker gives him an opportunity, Joker just comes out of that shack. EXO will be finding a great opportunity over to the sides of Team Mayavi. Fierce, he has all his crosshairs set. I mean, all 2 players have their crosshair sets on Joker. Even one, I was just talking about one wrong move, and there you go. Entity Noob manages to take Joker down there. Nexus right now is trying his level best to scout for more information and at least confirm the player who is down to the ground, but I guess he is not really up with the complete information. Look at your back, my friend. Look at your back. There is one player lurking behind your back. Out of all this happening, Team Chemin Esports has been eliminated on the 11th position. So the vehicle is being caught, and he will be forced to get out of that vehicle. Manya will be taking him down, but play zone is something that will be eliminating him completely. On the other side, the pressure of GodL is still getting built up on the sides of Team Enigma, but Clutch got one mistake, and the Mosin rifle, the headshot connection causes him his death. Not completely, but right now he's down to the ground, and he is just waiting for his teammates to come and revive back to his life.
Oh, indeed. The revival could be there anytime soon, but it is way too open. This is going to be the fifth zone. I guess it's going to be difficult for them. Team TSM's Equinox has been picked off. Look at that. Team EXO is fighting a two-way battle, trying to crush Team Enigma eventually and trying to crush Team TSM also at this point. It's going to be interesting how the fights is going to postulate. Well, we have one good guy being picked off, and I guess EXO managed to put one down from Team TSM. That's good for them, but eventually now Team TSM has to push in the zone, and Team EXO is one of those teams which is looking really very sharp at this point in the zone, and that is something which is going to get the advantage a lot. But eventually, if we talk about Team Celsius, there we go. Dark Lord could be him down, and yeah, that's what happened. Dark Lord with that great AKM drop shot coming up for himself. He managed to put one down. Now Team TSM has to be in the zone. Either it's going to be the heal battle or it's going to be the push in coming up really very soon. So let's see how the fights are going to postulate. Well, there we go. Ninja Jot goes down with the zone, and it's going to be difficult. Anytime soon, the fights will postulate. Anytime soon, the battle will be there. But Enigma's SG2OP is thanking Darshita for the Masin Nugget shots.
Once again, a Mosin rifle shot is what we are been waiting for, but Gil has been caught on the different angle. Eggy with that rifle is trying his level best. Once again, Gil caught into a different angle, but right now his teammate, that's going to be Shaggy, is down to the ground. Entity, yes, they are looking forward. Dark Lord, you look at this man, he is just waiting behind. He just got into a 1v1 situation and eliminated one guy from Celsius, but right now he has a fight with the sides of Enigma. Avi with that grenade can make things happen, but on the other side, GodL Gil will be taking down the sides of Team Enigma. OG Pechangon will be taking the sides of Team Nugget. Kevin down to the ground, and that's going to be Team Nugget and Team Mayavi getting eliminated. Clutch God will be making sure to take Pehchan Corn down to the ground. Snacks on the other side just spotted Nexus to a different angle, and there you go. Nexus is down to his knees. There's so much happening right now that birds are really falling short, but into the smokes, into the complete smoky area. Sentai will be going in for some predictable sprays. Well, he manages to put on some great level of just registered a great amount of damage on the opponents, but that is something that he needs to satisfy himself with. EXO Fierce, look at Team EXO. 3 finishes is what they got for themselves, but moreover, they had all of their surviving players, and that is something that can really get them a lot more things.
Oh, indeed. They are going to get a lot of points at this point, but only one team can stop them at this point, and that's going to be Team Godlike. Look at that. Team Godlike slowly but steadily is trying to push in. Snacks goes down with the brutal blow. Mashkas managed to put him down, and I guess with this, a new opening is going to contest for Team Forever. I guess this could be it for Team Forever. Now they could push in really very soon. If we talk about Team Enigma, well, these two teams are going to contest a lot at this point. Team Enigma versus Team GodL. It's going a lot at this point. Team Nexus, Team Forever is managing to put 2 down from Team EXO, and this is it. I guess Team EXO can be lost in the battle, but Fierce puts one more down. Kyoatan has been picked off. I guess he could be finished anytime soon. Jonathan has been picked off. This is the opening for Team Enigma, and I guess Enigma is just trying to ram on and just going ham onto the sprays right now. GodL Gil is trying to cook some smokes. Another nade is going to be there anytime soon, and this nade could turn in really very ugly for Team GodL. Let's see how the nade is going to be there right now. Oh, Gil was there right now. The nade was there for him, but eventually he managed to survive. Now the last man standing from Team EXO could actually do wonders at this point. If we talk about Clutch God, he's just trying to decimate. Random sprays are there right now, but connections are something they are lacking behind. And if we talk about Team EXO, they have got 4 amazing frags. Now they are going to put forward one more guy, and they could easily crush down Team Forever at this point, because OS Bolte and I guess Kyoatan is going to be the last ray of hope for the team. There we go. They managed to put one down, and I guess the last man standing will also go down. With that, Team EXO is in the top 4 with 6 amazing frags, and Team GodL is going to contest really very soon. Neo also goes down with the zone. That's a really sorry sight to watch, but eventually GodL Neo will go into the hands of Enigma Sagi. Oh, at the last moment, Zone did the wonders.
The last HP was confirmed by the play zone. On the other side, Clutch God is being caught on the different sides, and it's going to be 2 surviving players from GodL. Gil, he will be trying to go in for a grenade, but Shaggy, knows how to dodge that, and that's going to be a small sight of relief for Shaggy. But look at Gil. He is the last surviving player. My bad. I thought there were 2 players, but right now, Gil, he is the last surviving player. The buggy is on the urge of exploding at any moment, and Gil needs to be really careful. But there you go. Gil finds one on Shaggy. He will be taking him down, and right now Gil, he is looking forward to take as much as he can. EXO Fierce on the other side, EXO Punk on the other side are having their crosshair towards Entity Dark Lord, but Punk, out of all this, he is into his vehicles and trying to go further onto the sides of Enigma. Avi Shaggy will be confirmed by EXO Fierce. That's Gil going for the damage, is going for the knock, but the finish has been snatched away by some another team. 4 alive teams, 5 alive players. Entity Dark Lord. That's going to be EXO with the manpower standing advantage, whereas we have 1 remaining players from 3 teams. That's GodL, Entity, and Enigma. This fight is going to be really interesting. Team EXO, they do have a chance of winning it out because they are 2 players surviving. But once again, if both of these players are being caught by different angle and different 2 players, it can cost them a lot. Look at Fierce. Look at this man. He just put so many smokes on his way and he is waiting back in his vehicle. He is just waiting and going for as much blockages for the view of enemies. He just look at him. Smoke is everything that he has right now and is just looking forward to utilize it as much as he can.
The smokes will provide a great number of cover at this point, and that is what they are working for. And if I talk about Gil, well, he could be contested anytime soon right now. If I talk about Fierce, well, he's trying to be in the zone. That's good for them. Eventually, if I talk about EXO, they have got good utilities because after crushing Team Forever, they have got a good number of loots from them. But now if I talk about teams like Enigma, teams like Entity, and teams like GodL, well, they are the solo man standing from their team, and the only team with the 2-man power is going to be Team EXO. They are looking very sharp, and I just really don't want them to see actually choking at this point. Eventually, if they get choked out, the winner chicken dinner could be actually into some other team's hand right now because it's a 1v1v1 1v1v2 battle, if I'm not wrong. It's going to be interesting to watch eventually. EXO Fierce with the AKM, and if I talk about Panku, he has M416 in his hands right now. And if I talk about Gil, well, all the clothes have been removed and he's just trying to lay in the shadow. He's just lurking in the shadow so that eventually he could get some good cover, good sides for himself. And if I talk about Team Entity, they are trying to find some good angles. And now Fierce could be contested. Look at that. GodL Gil comes up with a brutal bow. EXO Fierce has been tagged out. He decides to go in the cover and eventually heal himself, patch himself. And that's what Gil is trying to do at this point. But yeah, Gil's position has been exposed. With this, I guess Fierce could come back really very soon once again onto that location. Once again, he could just spray onto that location. And this might be the end of GodL Gil at this point. And this might be the end of GodL's reign, GodL's fight, which they are trying to put forth. Because at #4, 8 amazing frags for themselves. That's a great number of starts coming from them. But eventually, if I talk about Fierce, well, he's in the vehicle. That's good enough for him. But yeah, a good spray onto the, let's say, pillion or let's say the vehicle seat could actually end him out right now. And if I talk about Dark Lord, well, there we go. The nades are there right now. Dark Lord is just trying to put some good nades into the perspective, and one good nade could land Team EXO out of the lobby because they're pretty close, if I'm not wrong. So this could be it for Team EXO. But then eventually, if I talk about Dark Lord, he's just trying to put all the nades in multiple directions so that a ray of hope will be there. Eventually, one good guy could be tagged out from that nade. And eventually, if I talk about Team Enigma and if I talk about the Team GodL, they are contesting with each other, but none of the connections are being made.
A ray of hope is just being seen in everyone's eye right now. 2v1v1v1 is the situation, and right now, out of all this, Enigma Avi, he is in the center of the zone. Dark Lord, God, and that's going to be one team getting eliminated there and there. Enigma Avi, he is still holding a greater chunk of the zone, but right now Gil, he is out of the zone. Gil needs to manage to at least what? Oh my god, GodL Gil will be taking one, and that's going to be Team Enigma getting eliminated. But Gil, with this freeze, has just located himself, and right now look at this map, look at the timeline analysis that was on our screen. He will be taking one more down. That's going to be Punk, but nevertheless it was one surviving player. GodL Gil, after taking one player down, would be taking other, and Team EXO, man oh man, what a way to start their day with a winner chicken dinner.
Indeed, a great fresh one day, but eventually they got the victory into their perspective. It's gonna boost them a lot at this point. And eventually I wanted to see, to be frank, them getting that victory eventually when they had that zone after the 4th and 5th zone, had that location in the zone, because if I'm not wrong, Sensei and Fierce were playing a bit split, and Panku and Snacks were there in the compound. They were trying to actually hold the great compound, because if somebody was there in the compound, Team EXO's last 2 guys which were trying to play split could have been contested a lot. So that is why Team EXO decided to be split, and eventually 2 guys were in the compound, 2 guys were looking out and getting the information, the visual clues, the town clues. It was really interesting. One hell of a battle was passed out, but EXO, a great one, man oh man, with I guess 10 finishes if I'm not wrong, and 15 points for the finishes, 15 points for the position to be exact. It's going to be 25 points for them in terms of the leaderboard, and that would be a massive jump, because this is the team which was lacking behind from Team Soul with only 1 point, but now they have got 24 points ahead. Let's say it's going to be 23 points, because Team Soul also got 1 point if I'm not wrong. Akshat was the one who put 1 down, but then eventually Team Soul becomes the first ever team to get wiped out. So what do you think about this, Darshita? New teams rising in the battle right now. You never expected Team EXO to get that victory, because how the last day went. Team Soul, Team Godlike, and Team TSM was trying to rain havoc in the lobby. But today, what happened? All of these teams were trying to do that kind of amazing stuff. Team Soul initially started with a great bump, but then they were picked off just like that. Just a shattering piece of them was there in the hands of Team Mayavi. And if I talk about Team GodL, well, they outperformed eventually everyone. Gil was the last man standing. He became the runner-up. He got 12 points for the position, and I guess 8 to 9 points for the number of frags he got. That's good. That was good enough, and getting those kind of points will rack them a good number of leaderboard bump. But eventually, if I talk about Team TSM, I guess they were way out of zone, and Team EXO was the one who actually put full stop onto their lifeline.
So much has happened, right?
Oh,
Ritu?
indeed.
So much has happened. We are just speaking out what happened, but the last moment, the last 1v1v2 situation that was on our screens. Yes, team Enigma got eliminated, and it was GodL Gill who took the last finish. But what happened next? EXO, two players were standing and they had the rocks straight and strong in front of them.
Indeed.
One player played a baiting role. He just baited himself to compromise Gill's location. Gill's location was compromised. The other player took him down. He had a huge responsibility. He took him down, and that is how Team EXO got their chicken dinner. But out of all this happening, yes, Team Soul got eliminated on a really early stage. Talking more about all these fights, let's just have a quick look on the highlights as well. Jonathan, the way this man went ham on the sides of Team 7C was something really not surprising, as we know, right, how aggressive Jonathan can be. But out of all this, Gil was the last surviving player. Skylightz Gaming, yes, Gamla Boy, again the last lone survivor for his team. He was put down, and that was Team Skylightz Gaming eventually getting eliminated.
Oh, the zone. It played a very vital role in all of the fights coming up right now, because eventually, if zone would not have favored Team EXO, the sides would have been different. And if I'm not wrong, Team GodL would have been favored by the zone. I guess the side would be different. If Team Entity would be there in the zone, the sides would have been different. The zone is playing a lot of charm coming up. But eventually, if we talk about the teams trying to retaliate, the teams trying to get that 1v1 into their perspective, look at that. Snacks holding the compounds, trying to crush Team forever. It was, let's say, a very good frag. And if I talk about Jonathan, that was the end. Team Enigma managed to put one down, and eventually Team GodL Jonathan was picked off. Neo was way too out of the zone. He was trying to be in the zone, but then he could have been contested from the western angle by Team EXO, and then eventually he was knocked out by the zone, and Team Enigma managed to put that feather into their cape, and there we go. Darklo tried to spray him down. Panku was tagged out a little bit, then it was not enough. Then if I talk about Avi, he compromised his location, and just like that, GodL Guild managed to put them down. And eventually, if I talk about this battle, look at that. Panku goes down with a brutal blow, but then eventually Fierce was the one who is giving the backup. He just managed to put him down, and with that, the battle was into the favor of Team EXO. The MVP of the match is gonna be Team EXO's Panku with 50% contribution and 5 great amazing frags. Putting 5 down from the lobby was the job by Team EXO Panku.
The job of the entire Team EXO is still by Punk itself. 50% contribution, man, oh man, this guy has just set a different level of contribution right now. Yes, Team EXO, they did a great job. They had the advantages of zone, they had the advantage of manpower standing, and after all that, the amount, see, I do completely agree that after you have advantages, you look forward to that yes, I can get that victory, but it's just a strategic gameplay played. And at the end of the day, star of the matches, that's going to be EXO Punk for going all out, 5 finishes, OS Bolte for 3 revivals, and EXO Fears, the final elimination, the final nail into the coffin. That's going to be EXO Fears with a total of 4 finishes and a final elimination itself.
Oh, indeed, the star of the match, the guys, the man, the myth, who has made their name in the lobby were there right now. But eventually, Team EXO, just like that, have got 10 amazing finishes and a total of 25 points was there. It was really very interesting that how this team got the grasp into their perspective. Eventually, they had the zone, and if that chicken dinner could have been lost from their hand, I guess Team EXO would have been very disappointed. But yeah, they managed to put that feather into the cape. They have got 25 amazing points in this match, 21 points for GodLike Esports, lacking behind from Team EXO only with 4 points. Team Enigma with 14 points, Team Entity with also 14 points, but they are lacking behind in terms of the position points. Orangutan Gaming, 10 amazing frags. Look at that. Competing Team EXO in number of finishes. But eventually, if we talk about the positions, well, only I guess #7 was the position which they were wiped out. So I guess 12 points for them. Team Forever with 10 points. Team TSM with 6 points. Team Mayavi eventually wiping out Team Soul was a great motivation boost for them. But then what happened to them? They were way too open. They were way too out of the zone. They were trying to be in the zone, but eventually I guess Joker was picked up. But then Mania was trying to revive him out, but way too out of zone. So I guess Team EXO's Fierce managed to put them down also. But then if I talk about Team Nugget, 4 points for them. Eventually, the teams lacking behind was something they have to work on. But yeah, there we go. Team EXO jumping a lot with the becoming only team which has got 5 amazing chicken dinner, and the 279 points are there right now. I guess Darshita, one good match, a triple century will be there for Team EXO.
One good match is what Team EXO is looking forward to, and 6 chicken dinners. Man, oh man, Team EXO, what are you exactly up to? 105 for finishes, 174 for position points. Team Soul on the second position. I guess if I'm not wrong, they just managed to accumulate one single point in the previous match, and that's the only reason that a red mark is seen in front of their name, with a total of 140 for position and 116 for finishes. Celsius Esports, a total of 248. Nothing much has changed. For Skylightz Gaming, well, yes, as same, nothing much has changed, but a 20 points difference between Skylightz Gaming and Team Celsius is something that they both need to be really careful about. Godlike Esports on the 5th position, a green mark, a sight of relief for the moment.
Oh, indeed.
But again, you have to make sure that your position points are something that are equal to your finishes. A balance between, both the aspects is all that we talk about. But yes, Godlike Esports, the most aggressive team. 131. Man, oh man.
Oh, indeed. Getting 131 points just for the finishes are going to be really very amazing. But the another team which is going to contest, it's going to be Team Soul right now. 116 points for them also for finishes. Then if I talk about then, we also have Team TSM trying to contest of that location. But if I talk about the hashtag 9 to hashtag 16, well, we are going to see Team Forever chilling it out at hashtag 9. Team Enigma getting some good points after, I guess, let's say this one. They've got 12 to 14 points into their perspective. So yeah, 162 points. Getting that green marker was the key to the success for them. Eventually, Team Mayavi crushing Soul was great, but then after that, they also got crushed by the Team EXO. And if I talk about Team Nugget, still maintaining their consistent performance at hashtag 12. NTT going with the green arrow to be exact, 140 points for them. But Team Chemin Esports, Team 7C Esports, both of them have the red arrows at this point. And Team Velocity, just 1 point, man. Just 1 point at this location. It's gonna be a lot of contestment for you because after 25 matches, I don't know what these teams are going to do because 17 more matches to go.
17 more matches to go. I really feel like it is a do or die situation for the teams that are, from 13, 14, 15, 16. Even Team Nugget and Team Mayavi, I'll consider right now. As we know, right, top 6 is the spot that you need to get a chunk of that prize pool, to get yourself something out of this overall tournament of AMD presents Sky Esports Grand Slam. Yes, learning is a part of everything, but right now the main focus should be on, just getting a chunk of that prize pool of making yourself the champions. The title, the gaining the title is so much bigger than everything. So yes, I completely agree for a fact that these teams from 11 to 16, it's going to be a completely do or die situation from them. It's like if you do it now, if you do it on today's day itself, you can try and make your entry in the top 6. But whereas if you are not able to do that today itself, it can be really difficult for these teams. What I mean right now is after today's day comes to an end, right, the next day, the upcoming day, it's going to be full of a competition between the top 6 and the top 10 teams to make a position for themselves, and that time it is difficult for these teams to do something. So I'll say that again and again, that you got still 5 maps, as the map schedule is already on our screen. You got 5 maps and one single map. If we saw teams accumulating 30 plus points in one single map, it is not something that it is impossible. Impossible itself says that I am possible. So yes, do something out of the box, do something new, and we are really keen to see your logo shining, as Team EXO's logo is shining right now on the very first match of Wrangle.
Oh, indeed. 2 things which are not going to stop for anyone. First off is the time, and second is going to be the play zone. It's not going to stop for anyone at this point. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch that how the play zone is going to play that vital role. You also saw that how the players are trying to give the damage, but eventually the last damage, the last final bonus point is into the hand of teams, into the hand of zone. So yeah, it's going to be interesting that how the map of Miramar is going to pan out, because n number of variables are going to be there. The higher ridges, the lower ridges, the fights coming from the back end, the third party is coming, the zone gatekeeping, the edge holding. It's going to be really interesting. New strategies are going to born right now, because initially in the match number 1 of day number 5, we saw that teams like Team Soul and teams like, let's say, Velocity were crushed out really very early. But then eventually, if I talk about day number 4, you saw how these teams were managing these kind of stuff. Where they are lacking today is something they were managing yesterday. So yeah, the teams are trying to develop new and new strategies so that eventually they could just easily contest them out. Make sure to change the whole situation into their pace and into their favor. So that is something it's going to be really interesting that how these teams are going to pan out and get their perspective onto the hand. Leaderboard will be there for sure, and of course the leaderboard is something they have to watch out for, and getting those points into their perspective is going to be the only goal. The enjoyment is there, the thrill is there, learning some new thing is going to be there for these 16 teams, but something they have to watch out is going to be the bragging rights of winning the AMD Presents Sky Esports Grand Slam Season 2. So yeah, the trophy, the prize pool of 15 lakh rupees is going to be at stake at this point. 17 matches more to go, but the next match is going to be the map of Miramar. It's again a very unexpectable map. You never know what is going to happen because how the vehicle is going to tumble, how many car 98 shots will be there, how many mini 14s are going to be in your faces, how many sprays are going to be there, how much open you are going to be there. These are few things which you have to worry about. But before all of that, one thing which is going to play a trump card is going to be the flight path and the play zone.
Fly path and the play zone, these are the two important aspects of each and every match, right? Before you start jumping off, the main concern you have that oh my god, the fly path is not favoring our primary drop location, or after you drop down you are like oh my god, the play zone is something that is just far away from us, and now again we need to find a vehicle and rotate. So yeah, these are the primary things that you know are always on a lookout for. You are always keen to know of what is going to happen, where the flight path is going, where the first play zone is going. But according to me, once again, as the previous map was really at a piece at the beginning, and then it was one hell of a show, as you keep on saying. I really enjoy it, but again, the players, they are really nervous, and this nervousness or this panicking situation is just them make mistake. They don't really want
Yeah,
to make mistake. It's just
I
that
mean,
the
who does?
situation is, yeah, it's just that the situation is something that is just nail biting. If we imagine us in that position, I can really feel that you are just going through a vehicle and you just see some bullets coming on yourself, rather than going into enemy's hand. I guess going off the vehicle is something you'll decide, but eventually you don't know, right, that you'll be for finding yourself down to the ground after you jump off the vehicle trying to dodge the bullet. So yeah, these are some things that can be really panicking for the players, not just right now, but every time we see something happening. It may be a fun part for us,
Yeah.
time to just relieve or breathe, but for the players it's really going to be important. Even one small mistake at this point of time will cause them a lot of problems, and that is something that they need to be really careful about. Miramar is a complete open end map. The rich gameplays that you need to play here are going to be the most important one. The height advantages that the enemies have can cause a problem to the lower ground players, and there's so much to talk about this map, right?
Yeah, indeed. Getting a good prediction in this map is going to be the main thing because you are going to hold some good ridges, some good high ridges. But before that, you have to know that is that ridge is going to be in the zone, upcoming zones or not. That is something you have to work on. So I guess the IGs, the filters of the team are going to work on to that right now. Some good IGing skills will be there. Some good predictions will be there. Eventually, teams like Team Nugget, teams like Team Entity are very good in the map of Miramar. But yeah, the Miramar Masters is still going to be Team Skylightz Gaming. So yeah, we are going to see that how they are going to pan out, how they are going to spread their wings and just scoop the Miramar chicken dinner into their perspective, and how many points they are going to get. And eventually, if we talk about one more team which was best of the best in the map of Miramar, it was Team God, like 35 points for them, 20 for the frags. Let's see how this day is going to turn out for them because eventually they showed their worth in the map of Miramar. But this day is going to be different because it's after 15 to 16 hours of a tiring break for you, and eventually all of the 15 teams, the rest remaining teams apart from Team Godlike, well, of course, they also did their homework. They also learned some new strategies. They also learned that what were the pros and cons because in the match of Miramar, they did get 35 points, but in just next match, they didn't got even a single point for their frags right now. So that was something they were working on. And I guess you are going to see a lot more strategies. You are going to see a lot more courage of these teams to see, to watch, to learn from. So yeah, we are going to enjoy a lot of battle coming ahead right now. But I'm eagerly waiting for the whole flight path situation coming up, whole player camps coming up. I just want to see that what they are trying to muster, what they are trying to scoop at this point. It's going to be interesting.
I know we all can really read the excitement you have, Raider, on your face right now. Just, eventually waiting for that flight.
No,
But I mean,
indeed.
yeah, we all are excited. We are pretty keen to know of how the matches are. Even the audience at the chats will be like, just start the match. We are really waiting for that. But
Indeed.
before we head towards the players' cam or anything, audience, once again, download Loco if you haven't, because we will be switching any moment after third match onto Loco. And I really don't want any one of you missing these amazing matches happening. So go to Play Store, download Loco, and make sure to be there on Loco, as we will be completely switching on Loco after the third match. Moreover, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, just hit the like button, share the channel with your friends so that even they can enjoy having popcorns, and make sure that you subscribe to the channel, not just here but on Instagram as well. We have a different channel completely for Grand Slam. That's going to be Sky Esports Grand Slam.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
are busy, if you're not getting time to witness this amazing matches happening, follow Sky Esports Grand Slam to get all the upcoming updates.
Oh, indeed, you must follow because eventually this year is going to be one hell of a year. You are going to see a lot of things coming up. Before that, let me just give you a brief about the whole tournament. Teams register over 10,000 plus right now. Eventually, the slots were only 3,000, so first come first serve bases were appointed, and then eventually round 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 was there in the terms of quarter finale. Quarter finale, it was really very interesting. But then after that, we had semi finale, which we and all enjoyed and all. It was really very interesting how the 6 teams which were qualified from the 8 teams if I'm not wrong. Okay, 6 teams qualified from the quarter finale was trying to retaliate the 18 more teams which came into the semi finale. But then after that, you saw 10 victors from the semi finale coming up really very soon for you guys, so that eventually we are going to see the carnage in the grand finale. We saw how the grand finale postulated. We are seeing it at this point. Day number 5 has already been there right now. Match number 1 has already been passed out, and it's into the favor of Team EXO. Now let's see which is going to happen, because as a caster, I don't want to see some kind of a repetition going on. But yeah, before that, let's talk about the player cam coming up. There we go. Team EXO is just trying to be revved up, just trying to be as let's say aggressive they can be at this point. They are going to enjoy a lot of carnage. And if I talk about Team Mayavi, well, initially got a really good boost of motivation after crushing Team Soul, but I don't know what happened in the passive zones because they were way too out of the zone. I guess the IGLing didn't work out. The prediction were not into their favor. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man, to watch this one.
What is more interesting to me right now, Raider, is
Hmm.
the highlight of that mistakes. If you saw clearly the camps of Team EXO, there was a board behind which
Hmm.
mentioned the mistakes these players were doing. Man, oh man, Team EXO's preparation for the next map is going to be a huge one. So talking about the map itself, Miramar, the fly path is all to your screens, cutting the map into a 60-40, not exactly a 60-40, even at the, it's not even a 60-40, right? Los Leones and the downwards compounds are really going to be difficult for the players to get to. Yes, Los Leones, Impala, you may find many teams here, but more down if you go to the areas of Los Sigos, or maybe Chumashera, or maybe Del Mar down there, I really doubt that we will be finding any kind of players. These compartments are going to be complete at a piece, and just imagining the very first play zone there, man, oh man, what a match it will be.
Oh, it will be interesting if the first play zone pans out to the southwestern corner. It's going to be really very amazing to watch that how the teams will retaliate. But I guess it's going to be the central one. Let's see how the fights are going to pan out at this point. La Cobra is going to get contested for sure because teams like Team Mayavi is going to be there. I guess Skylightz Gaming is aiming for El Pozo if I'm not wrong. But it's going to be amazing. Team Celsius also dropping into the area of Montenegro and the surrounding areas. And before that, we also have the central zone coming up.
Oh.
Oh, nice one. We are going to see a central zone. Let's see how the fights are going to postulate from this angle. It's going to be really very interesting that how the fights will be there, how the carnage is going to set forth for you guys. Eventually, a lot of good contestment is going to be there. I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know how the fights are going to postulate, but it is going to be amazing one. It's going to be interesting one to watch that how the teams will retaliate, how the teams will take their fight into their perspective. I really wish that how the battle will be there and a new face will rise in the whole battle. So let's see what is going to happen eventually.
The level of excitement we have right now is something that can't be counted, right? So the production end is just trying to test our patience. I mean, yes, we work remotely and we do have these kinds of difficulties. The production end, they will be solving this issue really quick, and the fly path
There
will
we
be
go.
back again on our screen. Okay, there you go. I was just about to say that, and the players, the fly path is all set, and right now we have Team Soul on our screens. Team Soul, who lost really very early, who just got down really early, and went off really early in the previous match. They are looking good, and I do expect, a ray of hope is. All that we have from each and every team. So yes, we do look forward on this team getting that chicken dinner once again for themselves, so that they can snatch away the throne from the sides of Team EXO.
Oh, indeed. One good secondary could land them once again into the top tabletoppers list, which they were reigning on. But eventually, if we talk about Team Skylightz Gaming, they are looting their compounds of El Pozo. That's good enough for them. But eventually, how the fights are going to postulate, that is something they have to worry about. Because at this point, loot is going to be the major concern. Yeah, the loot will be over. Eventually, rotation is something they have to work on. And they are, let's say, pretty close to the zone. So I guess that is not going to be the major thing for the first zone, but eventually after that, second zone is going to postulate, and I guess there could be a hard shift coming up really very soon. And if I talk about Team 8-bit, look at that. We have the shots coming up from Team Nugget right now. They are just constantly trying to remind them that we are here right now. Team 8-bit has to retaliate. In the last match, you saw Team 8-bit went out at hashtag 14, if I'm not wrong. So that is something that was something really very tiring for the team to watch. And eventually, if I talk about Team 8-bit, they are way too scattered. And yeah, Team Nugget is also doing the same job. They are just trying to loot some smaller compounds, getting some good loots. Eventually, if we talk about the whole large compound, yeah, the loots will be there, but I guess it will be way too scattered. And then eventually, you have to find some good locations where you can get the loots. And if we talk about the smaller compounds, you are going to get a good number of loots. But there we go. Skylightz Gaming still reigning on the top at this moment as the Miramar Masters after 8 matches which have been passed on from day number 1 to day number 4. But let's see how this match number 8, match number 9 is going to postulate for Skylightz Gaming and teams like Team Soul. But eventually 2 teams which are lacking very behind is going to be Team Forever and Team 7C Esports at this point.
Team Forever, Team 7C, Chemin, Velocity. These teams need to make sure that at least they get something out of this Miramar. Out of 8 matches played, overall points, 8 matches played in this Miramar, they got 23, 29, 31 and 32. Whereas teams like Skylightz Gaming, Team Soul, they accumulated 100 plus points in 8 matches of Miramar. And this is something that can, eventually cause a problem to a lot of teams. But talking more about 8-bit and Team Nugget, yes, our initial fight was something that was all set to their screens, but again after this initial fight it can be a problem to both of the teams. The winning team, they may get 4 finishes for themselves, but what if they lost 1 or 2 of their players in those initial fights? It can cause them a lot of problems in the end zones. And I guess the only reason to get away from these fights right now are both of the teams are looking to accumulate more and more points. And to do that you need to avoid initial fights, or if you go for it you need to make sure that at least you lose no of your players, so that the end fights are something that may work into your favor. Out of all this, Team EXO that has been completely prepared for this map is looking good with all 4 their players surviving, and so is for the sides of Team GodL, looking really good on their primary drop location, just finding everything that they need. Oh, they got a vehicle even, so it's not going to be so problematic for them to even rotate from here.
Oh, indeed. Jonathan, meanwhile, going in the golden Mirado at this point, but it is way too open. And Mirado is something you not choose in the map of Miramar, or let's say any map which is going to be there for you to play with, because Mirado is one of those vehicles which can easily be stuck and easily be burst out with some good brutal blows. But then Jonathan and Neo are going to rotate very, very soon in this vehicle right now, because what is good enough is going to be the rotations which is going to be made in the earlier zones. So yeah, that is the thing which is Team GodL is trying to do, be in the zone and then eventually postulate a new number of fight coming up for them. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting that how the whole fight is going to pan out for Team GodL, because last match it was full of energy. They were this close to getting that victory into their perspective, but then eventually Gil was choked out by the hands of EXO Fierce. But let's see how this match is going to pan out. If I talk about Team Orangutan, one hell of aggressive team was there. Eventually in the last match they got 10 amazing frags, eliminated at hashtag 7. That was something worrying about them, but yeah, 10 amazing frags as compared to EXO. It was literally very, very same. But let's see what is going to happen in this match, because Team Orangutan has looted it up. They have looted the compounds and now they are going to set forth to be in the zone, be in the good locations of the zone, so that eventually when the zone comes in, they could easily gatekeep some other team, or let's say be in the zone right now. That's going to be the major thing. But before that, Darshita, we have a question for you. M762 or AKM, which is more reliable in the competitive scenario?
If you ask me, I'll be going with AKM. AKM, a close range beast, and a long range even, right? With some great shots on head, you can just make the player go down to the ground. But yes, M762, eventually both of the guns are really good. It's just about the manner you play with them, right? Both of the guns, they got a beast power in themselves. They can take enemies down, may it be a close range or may it be a long range. But yes, M762 is more reliable, I would say, in a long range fight as well as close range. I mean, yeah, both of the guns are really reliable. So if you ask me personally this question, as a player, if I'll be playing, I'll be going with AKM. What about you, Raider?
Oh, for sure, I'm going to choose AKM, because if I talk about Beryl, well, a lot of, let's say, attachments are there for that. light grip, or let's say half grip coming up for you, vertical grip, or let's say laser sight, and then eventually compensator, suppressor, the AR hider, and all these things are something you have to, let's say, play with and let's say get adapted to, so that eventually when you are in a battle, if you're choosing for M762, you are going to postulate with that right now. But before that, I will come back to this question, but before that, we have a backup fight coming up, and that's going to be Team Nugget trying to retaliate Team Soul right now. Team Soul Goblin manages to put a lot of damage onto some other guy from Team Nugget, but let's see, Team Nugget is already trying to flee from the situation because they don't have the manpower at this point. Nugget is way too much damage, his utilities have been depleted. Look at that, he has just 8 bandits into his perspective. That is going to be the, let's say, tiring situation for him. And yeah, coming back to the question, well, I guess AKM is one of those guns which can be played barehanded. If you actually just pick it up from the lobby and just spray onto some other guy, you can easily tag him out, and if your consistency, your recoil management is good enough, you can easily tag him out. But eventually, if we talk about barrel, the iron sight is not that good, and eventually if we talk about the whole recoil system, if you don't have good kind of grips, let's say if you don't have vertical grips, a lot of vertical recoil will be there. If you don't have a light grip for you, then eventually I guess the close range fight will be out of your hand. So that is something teams have to work on. That is something as a player, if you are in a competitive situation, you have to work on. You have to choose your own poison to play with. And eventually if you talk about me and Darshita, we are going to go for the AKM for sure.
Yes, for now, AKM is a gun that we are looking forward to. But talking more about these players, everyone is looking forward to their rotations. Look at NTT, a straight line, and Shadow, he's leading the charts for now of the entire team. He's in the forefront. He is making a way for his entire team. But once again, vehicle, noob, what are you going to do next? Your vehicle is upside down completely, and there's nothing that you can do about. But TSM and Team Nugget, they got out of a fight with the sides of Team Soul, if I'm not wrong, a while ago. But right now they are looking really in the front foot situations with the fight of Team TSM. Out of all this happening and being said and done, we have a zone shift incoming. That's going to be the areas of Power Grid, Los Leones. That's a great area. But again, I do feel like Power Grid may be a shrink, or maybe there to the sides of Junket. Eastern or Western shift is something that I'm looking forward to, not a northern or southern one.
Alright, let's look forward to it. Let's see how the zone is going to pan out for you at this point. Eventually, if we're talking about the teams, well, there we go. Nugget is just letting themselves go from the harm's way, because eventually Team Soul was going to contest them really very soon. And you can see that each and every one is there right now. If we talk about the leaderboard, well, we have Team EXO on the top right now. Team Soul remaining at the, let's say, #2, the runner position. But now Soul and the runner-up and the leaderboard table toppers are going to fight it out. Let's see, is it the fight going to come really very soon? But I guess, Darshita, if the fight gets stretched for 2 to 3 minutes, you are going to see some other team going to hear the shots and then eventually bounce back into the fight, and then eventually a third party could be there really very soon. So let's see how the fights are going to pan out, and what are your takes on it?
The third parties, man, oh man. This map is famous for third parties, right? If you go to Miramar and you don't get third parties, I doubt you played a map of Miramar. But out of all this happening, Team EXO right now, they are just waiting patiently. Yes, I know Team Soul is just lurking behind in the shadows somewhere. There you go. Pew Pew is onto a different angle, really nearby. But it's no shots being exchanged, no damage is being distant. That is something, everything is at a piece. But once you start to give damage and compromise your location, then and there, you need to make sure that you have a backup plan ready, as any movement, these two tabletoppers team can make a rush on each other, and that's going to be one team losing the second position, one team losing the first position, or a team just snatching away the first position. So much to talk about. But moreover, Team Mayavi, it's going to be Joker with Mini 14. That's going to be some tap shots. If he spots someone, well, he did one buggy, but he didn't try to spray on it. He just gathered the information to him and his team, and he's just looking forward to rotate once again with those vehicles.
Oh, indeed. The rotations are going to be the major thing for the teams right now. Team Mayavi last match was good enough, let's say, in the initial zones, but eventually if I talk about the rotation, well, that was the thing where they choked on, and eventually in this match, they just want to be in the zone and eventually don't want to get gatekeep. But I guess that is something you have to be ready for, because eventually the zone is going to get a hard shift, and then eventually some other team is going to gatekeep you also. So all of these 64 players, 16 teams have to be ready about that situation coming up. But holding the power grid area is, let's say, pretty much passive at this point. But eventually the zone has shifted. Look at that, another shift is going to be there right now. It's going to be the eastern one. You are going to imagine let's say Imagine a lot of carnage coming up because Team GodL is bouncing back in the lobby from the western corner. That's good enough. Orangutan meanwhile is sort of in the center, and if I talk about some other team, that's going to be Team TSM. Team Nugget is also in the scene, and eventually Team Entity is barely in the zone. Team EXO is also climbing back in the southern corners. We also have one other team that is going to be Chemin Esports trying to be in the zone. Team VLT is also in the zone. I guess that's good enough. But then if I talk about Team Soul, well, there we go. Soul and EXO Sensei, the IGL is going to be pretty close. Let's see how the contestment is going to pan out from this angle, because Pew is going to cut the rotation, and I guess from this angle, Sensei could actually do a lot of damage, but I guess he heard the shots. Now the nades are going to be there, and with this, I guess Sensei could have been contested. Look at that. Sensei is going to go down for sure, and yeah, that's what happened.
Oh my god. 4 on the 4 players just came in the front foot and took one player off completely. It's going to be Soul Akshat taking the very first pick, whereas Team EXO will be losing one of their players. Since he is not just down to the ground but completely eliminated. Team EXO is leading the charts right now, can just face a downfall and lose everything that they got, but they are looking forward to one more fight, and if this works into the favor, that can be really good. But whereas if we talk more about fight, it's going to be the sides of Team Entity and Team Forever getting into a fight. Always Bolte has been eliminated completely. Kyoya, he is finding himself running low on his HP. Shadow, he is down to the ground, and look at the players. They are trying their level best to take that player down, but once again, Team Soul, that's going to be 3 or 4 teams fighting it out at the same situation, Raider. So it's not just a third party, it's just a triangular fight happening all around.
The third party is the triangular fights, a Bermuda Triangle being created in the lobby. It's interesting to watch. Eventually, if we talk about Team Forever, well, they managed to put one down. Now, let's see OS Bolte's, let's say, the lack of being in the lobby is going to defend them a lot. And there we go. Kyoya has been picked up by the hands of Team Entity, but I guess just like that, Nexus puts one down, and the trade is there. Eventually, if we talk about Team Soul, getting good finishes, getting one good finish into their perspective was good enough. But now, in the last match, you also saw the same thing. They managed to put one down from Team Mayavi, then Team Mayavi racked onto them, and just like that, they put them down. Let's see how Team Soul is going to retaliate in this battle, because yeah, Entity Noob is also getting contested from the battle. Nexus is going to cook a very smooth date. Let's see what is going to pan out for them. But then Enigma Psyche also goes down with a brutal blow. Now another fight is going to be there. Nexus is trying to cook some smokes. 2 finishes for Team Entity. Nexus nades could actually be really very tiring, and yeah, Dark Lord goes down with a brutal nade. If we talk about Team Skylightz Gaming, another fight is panning out. Look at that. Team Enigma's 2 guys are just trying to slam in, and that's going to be, I guess, the end of Team Skylightz Gaming. That could be the end of Skylightz Gaming, because now the portion is going to be really very eager. The Evo Italy is just trying to find out some good locations from which he can just eliminate it out, and there you go. One more goes down. He is trying to retaliate a lot, and I guess EG2OP is just trying to push it. Look at that. Gamla Boy has been decimated. Now the first 2 players standing in the lobby is going to be New Player and Pukar, just trying to defend themselves, just trying to defend the name of Skylightz Gaming. The name and the title of Miramar Master is going to be into their hand, because the way they defended, it was really interesting. Even for the casters, we never knew that what is going to happen in the fight, but yeah, the way Team Skylightz Gaming manages to be in the zone, it was really very interesting. Manages to defend themselves. It was one hell of a fight coming up for them.
Interesting fight that just came to an end, but will eventually give rise to more and more fight. Team Mayavi Joker down to the ground because of play zone. Joker, where are you, my friend? Oh my god, look at this guy. He is just so far away from the play zone, and that is why he'll be finding himself down to the ground. On the other side, Clutch God and Neo, they are in that vehicle, but the vehicle, it is just on the edge of blast. Oh my god, Team GodL losing 2 of their players in those vehicle explosion is not something that any of us expected. Gil is down to the ground. Jonathan is the last man surviving. He will be taking 1 player down. On the other side, player 3 will be tagging as much as he can. But there you go. Jonathan is being caught by TSM Blaze, and that's going to be Team GodL getting eliminated, I guess, with 0 finishes. Well, there you go. Team GodL got nothing out of this map of Miramar. Soul player 3 on the other side is trying to take Prince down as far as he can, and there you go. Soul Akshat will be taking Savitar down. Spray God will be confirmed by Akshat. Akshat will be confirming Prince as well. So that's going to be Team 7C eventually getting eliminated. VLT Atanki on the other side is trying to take 1, and he will be successful in doing that. Apollo will be eliminated there and there. Vixie is being caught. Vehicle explosion once again, but Vixie, he will be just jumping out of that vehicle. No, he didn't jump out of the vehicle.
He got busted.
He was in that vehicle when the vehicle exploded, and that's going to be Team Celsius even getting eliminated, Raider.
Oh wow, look at the number of teams which are getting eliminated in a single span of minute. Look at that, look at that. We have Team Soul trying to decimate another team, and I guess that was Team 7C which actually got out by the hands of Team Soul, and then eventually Team Celsius was also wiped out, and now another team is gonna be contested, and that's gonna be Team Nugget. We have a Nugget, Kevin going down, but now Team TSM is also trying to decimate. We have Nugget trying to decimate Goblin, and this is the top fragger for Team Soul, but I guess the fragger is down now. Akshat has to do something amazing in the lobby, and then eventually if we talk about player 3, he's also going to retaliate. A lot of fighters there right now, but one team which is sneakily in the zone, that's going to be Team EXO. Let's see what eventually happens in this battle, because this is a three-way front fight coming up. Team Nuggets Pro OP is just trying to find out some new gaps, new areas from where he can just retaliate, from where he can just get some good points. And if I talk about player 3, look at that, he's just trying to find some good locations. I guess Goblin could be rezzed out anytime soon, but he's just, let's say, giving his teammate a time period to actually just scout or learn from the cues coming up in the lobby to actually get the retaliation in the perspective. But yeah, Goblin is on the verge of getting that revival. Kevin could actually decimate really very soon. Akshat could have been taken down. Oh, Nugget goes down. That's really very bad. But then player 3 decides to bounce back. This is it for Team Soul. There we go. Team Soul has been decimated by the hands of Team Nugget, and this is the comeback we were waiting for. But ProPO, dude, he was on the verge of getting saved out, and actually saving his teammate. But then Team TSM was waiting eagerly for the fight, waiting eagerly for the moment when he just do that kind of wrong stuff, and then eventually Team TSM has got their grasp into the perspective. Look at that, the 4th zone is going to shrink in. Now the 5th zone is going to bounce back. Team EXO once again is a little bit out of zone, but Team Skylightz Gaming and Team TSM and OG's Rigger is someone who is in the zone right now, and I guess who is gonna be in the zone for the longer period of time. But I guess Team Orangutan has a higher ridge, and with that they are going to play a lot of strategy now.
Higher bridge is
Look at that.
something that exactly, higher bridge is something that provides you a lot of advantages, but at the same time, even if your one player is down to the ground, it can cause you difficulty.
Oh, indeed.
That is something that you need to be really careful about. Exophias on the other side, they are trying to have a entry, have a chunk of the play zone, but I guess Team TSM will be allowing them to do that. Exophias, they are okay. TSM Shadow right now, he is aware of the location of the sides of Team EXO are holding, and look at Shadow, he is trying his level best to not allow Team EXO into the play zone. But what Team EXO is doing, they are just having smokes and they're just utilizing it as much as they can. But the damages from Shadow is something that is putting a lot of pressure on the sides of Team EXO. So is the pressure being built on the sides of Chemin Esports as well. Velocity Atanki, he is trying his level best to put as much as he can. But right now, if you spray more bullets, you would have nothing to play in the end circles, and that is something that you need to be careful about. It's just a fist and a pan that you will have. But at the end of the day, Team Mayavi even gets eliminated with 0 finishes for themselves. VLT Kratos, they are all set to go aggressive towards the sides of Chemin Esports. Papa nahi manenge, all set there, but with that grenade, he has to depart. Another grenade going from the sides of Slayer, but Slayer, he is eventually being tagged. Delta PG down to the ground. That's going to be 2 surviving player, 420 OP and Destro. What are they going to do next? Daljeet is being caught by 420, and that's going to be Daljeet down to the ground. Atanki confirmed, but 420 OP gets instantly traded there and there. So much is happening right now, and it's going to be one single player surviving from the sides of Team Chemin Esports, whereas one grenade from Exo Snacks will be taking Juicy down.
Oh, Juicy is being contested a lot at this point. If I talk about the whole nade situation coming up, I guess Juicy could be revived anytime soon. That is going to be the case. It's good enough for him. Juicy is going to get that revival. That's interesting to watch, but eventually they are way too out of the zone. They are going to get gatekept by the team known as EXO. And if I talk about Team TSM, well, they are holding a major chunk of the zone. I guess at this point, they are holding a very great location. And if I talk about the center point, well, that's going to be into the hand of Team Skylightz Gaming, but I guess it's way too open, and I guess Team Skylightz will actually get that contestment. If I talk about Chemin, look at that. They are trying to be in the zone. One guy goes down with a brutal bow. 420 OP is not going to survive, but another guy is going to make it out into a very great location. That's good enough. But I guess the new zone formation, which is going to be there anytime soon, will actually change a lot of thoughts for us and a lot of thoughts for the teams right now. Snacks, meanwhile, has been put down. Smokes will be there, so that the revival will be there. I guess the revival is going to be the main concern for the team. But then Juicy has been contested. He has been picked off. The frag should be into the favor. And yeah, EXO puts 2 down from 2 into their perspective. That's good enough. But I guess Panku, meanwhile, is being contested. Snacks is going to get that revival. Oh, that was a good one. Fierce goes down with a brutal blow. Now I guess Fierce has to do the wonders. Fierce has to put that revival into the perspective. Eventually, if I talk about Snacks, another confrontation is going to be there for Team 8-bit also. Look at that. They are trying to put a good nade. I guess that could be it for OG. One guy could have been picked off. Oh, the damage was there, but I guess it was equally distributed between 2 guys.
Damage is something 8-bit needs to satisfy themselves with,
Mm-hmm.
but believe he is getting a lot of damage from the play zone itself, and that is something that he needs to be careful about. OG,
Indeed.
they are out of the play zone, and right now height advantage is becoming a disadvantage for them, and this is why we always keep on saying the things that each action has an equal and opposite reaction, where it's a big example already set onto your screens. Exo snacks out of all this, TSM plays out of all this, they are working with an inner wall cover for themselves, and that is something really keen and interesting to watch. Ash is being caught on a different angle by Gamla Boy, but Gamla Boy damages by TSM Blaze OP, and that's just damages that they need to be satisfying themselves with. But Blaze OP, he will be like, no more damages, I'm going to take one player down, and he manages to take Fears down to the ground. But the fights, they are really being very interesting. TSM Blaze took one down, but again, why do you keep us in so much of curiosity? I mean, why do you do this to us? And there you go, the feeders are back on the tracks. Ninja Jord will again be taking Skylightz Gaming. That's so much of happening, Raider. But
I guess
what
one
do I
thing,
say?
yeah, one thing we have to watch out for this back end things coming up right now. But yeah, there we go. We have the feed coming up once again. Let's watch into it. Let's dive into it. I guess the thing is not going to repeat very soon. Let's see how the fights are going to postulate. And I guess whatever we have missed is going to be there for you in the highlights. Now you can see that Snacks is going to be the last man standing of his team. But yeah, contestment is there. 8-bit manages to put one down. That's Madman who is trying to retaliate a lot at this point. New player could easily pick him off, because with this brutal UMP45, it will be really easy for him to just pick him down right now. Look at that. Madman is way too close to him. He's going to spot him out, and just like that, Madman also goes down. Team EXO meanwhile is getting for the heal battle. That's interesting to watch. Eventually they are in the top 3, aiming for the winner chicken is going to be the case for Team TSM, because getting 11 amazing finishes, holding this great amount of zone is going to be very interesting. 3 teams and 7 players are going to hold it off. I guess Team Skylightz Gaming is going to go down anytime soon. Exo Snacks meanwhile has been taken down by the zone, so I guess 10 points for the position. And eventually if we talk about the Team TSM, look at that. Team TSM is going to crush the hopes of Team Skylightz Gaming with one good nade, and this could be it for Team TSM right now. This could be it. This could be the start of the end. And there we go. SG Pokar has been picked off. Ninja Jord, one good nade. He managed to put one down. Another nade is going to be there. New player is going to contest him really very soon. Look at that. He's just trying to find some angles through which he can just put down some good sprays. And if we talk about Team Skylightz Gaming, there we go. They have been picked off. Team TSM manages to put one feather into their cap, and it was really very interesting. Getting that zone into the perspective was something Team TSM was working for. And look at that. Dashita, even after the third zone, they were in the zone. They were holding a very good compound, and they till the end holded that compound, and that was something they were working on, and they did it tremendously, I guess.
Team TSM, what a start. What an amazing match it has been for them, right? Start from the beginning. If you talk about this team had waited patiently for an opportunity. Opportunity is something that we all need at the end of the day, and this team, they just waited for opportunity, and as soon as they got that opportunity, it was them not stopping it all. Look at them, double digit mark is what they got for finishes, and the same is something that they got for the victory. That's 15 points for the chicken dinner you got, and moreover 11 plus finishes. I guess if I'm not wrong, that's going to be 12 finishes for TSM. That's a huge number that they have put forward to. What a match of Miramar it is. I mean, I am still not able to forget any moments happening. Well, yes, if you miss out anything, we will be having highlights any moment soon. But Raider, what a match it has been, right?
Oh, indeed. After the third zone, man, oh man, Team Soul went on ham onto Team 7C. They manages to put them down. Eventually, if I talk about the next close call fight, Team Nugget was trying to retaliate. Team Nugget manages to put Team Soul down, and eventually after that, I guess Team TSM's Blaze OP or Shadow OG was the one guy who was trying to just be very passive in the initial way, and then eventually scouted out one guy who was going for the revival for the other guy from Team Nugget, and he was also going to go down. Just like that, Team TSM actually scooped down some good finishes, which was not there, not into their favor eventually. If I talk about the 4v4 fight, well, if you talk about the initial battle, Dashada, Team TSM was not to be seen, but then after that, Team TSM was trying to be in their compound, just be into the hardcore covers, and then eventually take some good frags. They manages to decimate Team 8-bit. They manages to put some frags into Team Skylightz Gaming eventually in the last fight. Before that, Team EXO was also tagged out a lot. Team Soul was also tagged out a lot. Team 7C was also contested. Team Nugget was also contested, and that is why I guess they have got 13 amazing frags into the perspective, because contesting with all of these teams, they managed to put them down. They managed to make a pressure onto their mind that yeah, this is the science of compound which we have not to which we can't conquer at this time, because there is a team already holding that area. So yeah, we have to be aware about that kind of situation, and we just have to push from the left location or front location, or to go around the fight just like Team Chemin did. But then also Chemin's 420 was picked up by the hands of Team TSM. So yeah, Team TSM holding that compound, it was really very amazing.
Out of nowhere to everywhere. This is what TSM did.
Indeed.
And there you go. Highlights that we have been waiting for are already set to your screens. Team Celsius, they started it with the fight, but eventually it went worse for them. Team Soul and Team Nugget, if I'm not wrong, got into a fight where Team Nugget eliminated the sides of Team Soul. But what happened next? Team Nugget was eliminated there, and they were just confirmed there and there. Team Chemin Esports and Team Velocity got into a fight with themselves. But once again, Team Chemin Esports, they were trying their level best. They eliminated 2 or 3 players, but nothing worked into their favor. Exo and 8-bit with some grenade parade onto the sides of Team 8-bit. Exo managed to at least confirm a great fight. Juicy was already down to the ground. Punk, he was really low on his HP, and you know, right, when you are really running low on your HP, it can be really problematic for you, and that is what exactly happened with the entire team.
Oh, indeed. HP is something you have to look after. Zone is something you have to look after, because eventually, if you have HP, you can retaliate, and that is what these teams were trying to do. Eventually, if I talk about Destro, he was in the zone. He was trying to pop up some good nades so that eventually good position points will be there. But then Believe also was picked up by his hand. It was really very interesting how the battle postulated. Then Gamla Boy was picked up by the hands of Madman. He was way too late. He was trying to lay low so that eventually he could just get some visual clues or sound clues. But then he was picked up by the hands of Team Skylightz Gaming, new player if I'm not wrong. But after that, this was the let's say last call which was there for in the battle, and then Team TSM manages to put down of the Team TSM. And after that, if we talk about Team TSM, Aquanox once again 6 amazing frags, already leading the charts in terms of, let's say, frags in terms of top fragger. 6 amazing frags, 46.15 team contribution after match number 26. It is really very interesting how the fight is going to be. But Team TSM, one of those teams which was lacking in terms of chicken dinner, well, surely but shortly they have got one.
Aquanox, you beauty, you are already the one standing really strong on the MVP of the top fraggers of the tournament. And again, a MVP title is what you got yourself. 6 finishes and a total contribution of 46.15%. What a match it has been for this man. This man is just going really, really crazy right now. Look at the smile, look at the jolly face he has. The happiness can just be imagined by this. But star of the matches, once again, that's going to be Aquanox for going all out finishes. That's going to be 6. Exo Fierce for the best companion, 3 revivals, and Ninja Jord for the final elimination. 4 finishes in total, and the survival time of 1416.
Oh, indeed. Look at that. We have the star of the match coming up for you guys eventually. Team TSM Equinox, just like we talked about earlier, that he's going to be the all-out player, or let's say the most aggressive player of this lobby is going to be Team TSM Equinox in the past match. But yeah, getting 6 amazing frags, 1 bonus point and 636 damage is one thing he has done. Eventually also contributing for his team a lot. And if we talk about Exophius, he was the best companion. Eventually you saw there was a moment when Team Exo was getting shattered. Snacks was put down, Panku was taken down, but then also he manages to get some points into his favor. If I talk about Team TSM, well, there we go, the grand finales. Day number 5, match number 26, match standing is going to be here right now for you guys. Team TSM with 13 amazing frags finally gets a feather into their cap with 28 points. And eventually, if we talk about Skylightz Gaming, the runner-up of the lobby with 19 points, Team Exo, after getting only 2 points, decimating Team 8-bit. They have got 12 amazing points. Meanwhile, if we talk about Team 8-bit, they have got 11 points. Chemin Esports 11 points, Velocity 8 points, Team Soul 6 points, Orangutan 5 points, Forever 5 points, Nugget 5 points, Entity 4 points, Mayavi only 1 point, Enigma only 1 point for the frags. But these 3 teams, Celsius, 7C Esports, and GodL, Darshita, 0 points for them. Last match, GodL was really very good, 21 points for them. But in this match, I don't know what happened, but yeah, initial frag, initial fight, and that's it for them.
A point of concern right now.
Indeed.
Celsius Esports, 7C, and GodL. What went what went wrong with GodL? If you ask me, I would say 2 players getting and still traveling in a vehicle that was really on the verge of exploding at any moment.
Oh.
This shouldn't have been done, and that is something that was more difficult. But right now we'll have more discussion on the caster deck. Right now, more focus on the overall rankings after match 26. That's going to be Team Exo still leading the charts with a total of 291. One more match and this team crosses a mark of 300 at any moment. Team Soul on the second position with a total of 262. Celsius on the third with 248, and Skylightz Gaming 247. So moreover, nothing has changed in the top 4 position. That's just reshuffling of the teams that is happening.
Oh, indeed. in the top 4 situations, you are not going to see any kind of reshuffling. We have Team EXO still remaining on the top with 291 points. That's great for them. Eventually, if we talk about the reshuffling in this whole stats, we are going to see Team 8-bit once again bouncing back with, I guess, 11 points they got in the last match, and that manages to put them in hashtag 5. That's interesting to watch. Eventually, Team TSM with 229, 1 point more than team like GodL Esports, which was remaining on hashtag 6 or hashtag 7 in the last match. So yeah, it's interesting how Team GodL is going down, and Team TSM getting that feather into the cap is gonna, let's say, boost the motivation. And if I talk about Team Orangutan, they are in the front page, but they are barely holding on to it, because if you talk about the gap, look at that. Team GodL with the 228 points and Team Orangutan with the 188 points. A massive gap of 40 points at this point.
Massive gap of 40 points.
Mhm.
Man, oh man. Not one match is enough to, just cover up the gap. Talking about the second side, Team Forever with 171, Enigma Gaming 163, Team Mayavi 160, and Team Nugget 148. These four teams, again, they have not lost anything, but eventually they have gained nothing. You know, right? Team Mayavi, I guess if I'm not wrong, one single point is what they got. Team Nugget, they got points for their finishes, but again, position points is something that they need to be really concerned about. Chemin Esports, 89 finishes. Team Chemin, they are looking good on the part of finishes, but again, 57 position points is not something that you need to be on right now. It's something like at least 80 or 90. Look at Enigma Gaming. Look at other teams. 80 or 90 is a mark that should have been crossed till movement for the position points. But yes, position is something that they need to have their focus on. Yet a moment of relief for them with a green signal. But Team Entity, again a downfall for them with a total of 144. 7C Esports and Team Velocity trying to figure out what is going wrong. I don't know. I am not able to still come to a fact that yes, this may be a point of concern. Yes, point of concern arises when we see these teams at 15 and 16, where we know for sure that these teams are really good performing teams, really aggressive teams, having a lot of potential. But seeing them at 15th and 16th position is something that is something that is really confusing, but at the same time it's just small mistakes. All of this happens because of small mistakes that are happening overall, that can be avoided. But again, you need to sit, re-strategize, and only then can these players get back whatever they are lagging onto.
Oh, indeed. Getting back in the fight is going to be the major concern for each and every team at this point, be it GodL, be it Team EXO, because eventually, if I talk about the leaderboard table toppers also, they were unable to get that again victory into their perspective. If that Snacks guy was not doing that heal battle doctor situation coming up for him, I don't think they would have got hashtag 3 position. So yeah, these are a few things they have to work on. Eventually, the team at the bottom of the list have to work on getting some good average points and eventually being in the top 5, top 6, top 7 points. But after that, if we talk about match number 1, well, that was into the feather of Team EXO. And after that, match number 2 was into the hands of Team TSM with, I guess, 28 amazing points. That was really very interesting in the way they formed it out, the way they got the points into their perspective. That was one hell of a fight coming up. But eventually, if we talk about match number 3, again, Darshita, the home base is going to be there. That's going to be Wrangle.
Erangel, the classic map, as we say, the home for these players. It's I don't know what do I discuss more about this map. Looking at the strategies, looking at the way these players are playing, I'm yet confused that should we be discussing the way the map goes or the way these players are playing. I mean, both of these are two different kind of things that come together. The way the map flows and the way these teams plays, the both of these things, they just come together, and
Indeed.
then it's like a one step further to the victory. But right now, yes, talking more about the play style of these players are looking forward to disengage from any kind of initial fights happening. Yes, if the fight is really a close range fight of a team aggressing over them, this kind of fight, it can't be disengaged. But if it's a long range or a mid range battle, they are just trying to disengage out of that fight, make a run for their life, make a run for the hill, looking forward to just get a greater chunk of the play zone. And then what are they doing? They are engaging themselves in n number of fights, and that is where the main problem is arising. They are losing players. They are gaining finishes, but at the same time, what
Yeah.
is the use of gaining 4 or 5 finishes when you have lost 2 of your players?
Oh, indeed.
Right?
Yeah. This is the kind of trade which you never want to see eventually. If you have lost one good guy of your team, I guess getting 7 to 8 finishes will be the marker where you can just say, let's say that, yeah, we have done something in the lobby. Eventually, if you are losing one good guy of your team and just getting one frag in in the return, it's not good enough, because losing one good player is going to turn a really very bad situation for you, because now you have to rack up for some seriousness for number of points you are going to get, number of rotations you are going to make, because one gun from your squad has been lost. And of course, this is something you are not going to focus on, and this is something you have to work on. So I guess the teams which are losing some early points in terms of their players and in terms of their squad roster, so yeah, they have to work a lot, because initially the split drop is there, and I guess split drop has their pros and cons eventually, just like everything else has. So yeah, getting a split drop is going to be very sneaky for you. You are going to get a lot of area to loot with, you are going to get a loot without contestment, but then also a small little bit of contestment is going to be there. You never know how the players are going to pop out, or the same strategy from some other team will be implemented. I guess some other player is going to get that split drop, and you might get decimated by that. We saw that in the first match. We already saw that what happened to team Gaming Esports and the other team which was trying to loot onto that compound. It was really very interesting. They managed to put one down from team Orangutan, but then what happened? They were taken down. They were contested by the hands of team Celsius Delta PG, if I'm not wrong. Team Gaming Esports Delta PG. So yeah, this is something which you have to work on. Getting some initial casualties in your courtyard is not something you have to let's say it's something you have to worry about, to be exact.
Worrying about getting yourself in the top 6 is the main
Oh,
focus right now, right? Because this fight is not of semi-finales, that if you are in top 6, top 10, you will qualify. No, my friend, you have to get into top 6 to get some part, to get some chunk in the prize pool. The prize pool split is in the top 6 position, a big prize pool, a huge prize pool, as the name of the tournament already is Grand Slam. A grand prize pool of 15 lakhs is what we have for this. And if you are not getting yourself in top 6, either you have an option to be the most aggressive player to get the MVP title, either you have one more option that your team is the most aggressive team to get that team most aggressive team title. But if you are not doing anything, you are not getting anything in return, rather than just learning. And learning with time, yes, you do learn, but if you get rewarded for something, you do better and better. So this is something that you need to be really careful about. This match of Irangal, yes, it's a home to most of the players, not to most, I guess to all of these players. The Miramar Masters, we saw the Miramar Masters, but what happened to them? Miramar Masters, it was team Godlike, I guess, with
Skylightz.
accumulating. Yeah, it was Skylightz, it was Godlike. These 5 to 6 teams that were at the starting of this Miramar Master map, they were falling down. Yes, Skylightz
Indeed.
Gaming, they did a great job to survive till the end, but more teams, they were falling down after taking the title of Miramar Master, and that is something that is not being done right. So yes, focusing more on the strategy is something that the teams need to be changing, keep on changing. It's not like I'm telling to bring on new strategies, no, but playing with one same continuous strategy can get you into a bad spot right now.
Oh, indeed. If that strategy, that continuous strategy which you are playing from day number one is not getting you the results, you have to change. You have to postulate some new strategy so that eventually the battle will be there into your favor. Because after all, we are fighting for the leaderboard. We are fighting for the Grand Slam victory. We are fighting for the bragging rights of winning this Grand Slam season number 2. And eventually, we talked about the whole prize pool. We talk about, let's say, if you are not winning, you are going to learn a lot. But eventually, that learning will be rewarded, and if that reward is there, you are going to let's say acknowledge that yeah, we have learned something, we have retained that, and we have just put forward that learning into the game, and then eventually we have got something. I guess those rewards let you know that yeah, you have done a good job, you have done something, you have learned something, and now those learning are affecting your performance and all. So yeah, these are a few things you have to work on, and I guess the teams are trying to play their best, try to postulate their best at this point. It's going to be very interesting that how the little bit of breaks, how those leaderboards, how those mistakes these teams are trying to play and trying to cover up is going to play out, because this is the map of Erangel. It is, let's say, I expected map where you are going to see a lot of snakes in the last zone, but eventually if the zone gets into a compounded areas, let's say if the areas of Pochinki are there, if the areas of school aparts are there, if the areas of 70 are there, you are going to see a lot of smokes and all coming up. But before that, we have the player cams coming up for you guys. Team Orangutan already getting prepped up for the fight right now. It's really very interesting that how the teams are trying to retaliate. There we go. I guess Team EXO is waiting in the lobby, just chilling it out. Eventually when the match will start, they will actually just bounce back in the fight, because last match was good enough. They got 12 points. I guess that was average for them, but eventually getting that victory would have been the case for Team EXO. They were in the zone for the, let's say, 5th and 6th time, but after that they were way too much contested. So I guess Darshita, that is something they are going to look after.
That is something that they are going to look after, but I am looking forward to the fly path trajectory. Look at
Mhm.
this. Once again, we have a diagonal fly path that's going to be starting things with the areas of Georgepul, Sarki up there, and ending towards the areas of military base. So, Raider,
Mhm.
before we reach towards the military base, what do you think? Will team Chemin Esports go towards Kameshki, or down there we'll see a one initial fight happening between Velocity and Chemin Esports?
Oh, they will go. They will go. Chemin Esports is going to go in the military base area right now because if you talk about the last previous one, if you are talking about in the last match and the first match of day number 5, it was the thing where team where the flight path was actually a bit far away, and that is why I guess Team Chemin Esports decided to go a bit away from their location. I guess that was the kind of contestment they got, and that is why they got one good player. I guess they that rotation, or let's say that split drop location actually caused them a good casualty for their team. So there we go. Team Velocity and Chemin Esports is once again jumping in the vicinity of our military base, and now they are going to contest. Another team is there, a bit far away. I guess that's going to be Team EXO, aiming for Milta Power Compounds. Team 7C is also going to be there. Team Skylightz Gaming is going to chill out very far. And if we talk about the area of Pochinki, it's actually not contested at this point, but I guess now Team Skylightz Gaming is going to contest. But we have a central zone once again coming up. Now let's see how the fights are going to postulate, because this central zone is going to initial a lot of spark coming up for those teams which are a itsy bitsy little bit out of zone, but the team which are in the zone are going to loot out passively for the first two zones and then eventually, let's say, retaliate. Teams like GodL is going to get a lot of contestment because they have to go a bit far away. They have to get some good vehicles so that eventually the rotations could be there, because Yasna Poliana is going to be the choice of drop location. But there we go. We have the clash coming up. Team Skylightz Gaming Somras. The IHL has been picked off. If we talk about Pukar, well, with S1987, he's trying to retaliate. Let's see, is it possible for him to do the job or not? That's going to be the major concern. Well, Avi is pretty much contested. I guess Avi could go from two fronts. I guess it's going to be interesting to watch. But now Pukar's shotgun shot would have been heard, and I guess Avi could easily go for the shotgun coming up. Oh, that was a tacky one. He was picked off just like that. Team Skylightz Gaming are really very bad. Shattering start for the team. They have lost two good guys. And I guess, Dashita, we were talking about these initial casualties, and there we go, we just got it.
We just got initial casualties, but Team Enigma really happy at this moment, right? Two finishes is what they got for themselves at such an initial start of like 3 minutes. So yes, a good start for them, but once again, fight happening between Chemin Esports and Velocity. Fight that we were expecting to happen after seeing the fly path trajectory. We were all set to see a fight happening. So there you go. Slayer has been caught into a complete open area, 420 OP with that Scarl. He managed to give some damage, but Skylightz Gaming new player has been caught by Evo Italy, and that's going to be a vehicle that comes on the face of new player directly, and new player will be down to the ground. Delta PG on the other side, he is looking forward to take at least one more player down, but will that happen? Will Velocity lose one of their player, or is it going to be the sides of team Chemin Esports just giving opportunity to the sides of team Velocity? I am not sure of what exactly is going to happen, but the way this team is split. I mean, look at the split they are holding. Chemin Esports, one player, 420 OP. He is waiting back on his position there, and all the three players are down there in those compartment areas. But Kratos, once again, a strange strategy. We saw that happening, right?
Yeah.
Kratos going out for a flank is something that we saw happening before as well. So 420 OP, better be careful, or you may get caught from two different angles right now.
Oh, indeed. The angles which are being made in the lobby is going to be interesting, but I guess at this point, 420 OP's location is pretty much unknown for the guy which is coming from the outward areas. But yeah, let's talk about Team Velocity. Well, they have got a good location, if I'm not wrong, but they are going to get pretty much cornered because Delta PG is coming from the eastern flank, and if I'm not wrong, that's going to be 420 OP holding the upper ridge from which he can just easily get a bird eye view and just get some good points into his perspective, and let's say expose the location of Team Velocity. And if we talk about Team Chemin Esports, Destro and Papa Nimanenge, they are also trying to find out some good ridges, good angles from which they can just brag it out, just get some good points into the perspective. And if I talk about Team Velocity's Arsenal, well, look at that. They have MK47 Mutant and a Uzi. I guess that's not going to be the good enough loot for them. And eventually, if I talk about this team, that's going to be Chemin Esports. Well, they have got a good loot. AKM DP28, M416 AKM. Well, what more do you want in the fight?
What more do you want in the fight? But right now, Raider, thank you so much for being there with us in the very first two map. I would like to welcome back Arka to the desk. Raider, we'll be catching you guys back on the last two maps, but right now, Arka, over to you. Erangel Quanquas is already onto your screen.
Absolutely. Now, thank you so much for welcoming me back, Darshita. I was waiting to be actually on the desk, but these technical difficulties, they always hold us back for a few minutes. But ultimately, Team EXO, the way they've woken up today, I do believe that if they continue to play the same, they're going to be conquering more points for themselves. So, in the map of Erangel, we're able to see that they are the, team to watch out for. They've got 147 points for themselves. And with that, right after them, it's going to be 8-bit another. So, if any team would want to choose to overcome the side of Team EXO, they have to go to them, destroy them in their rotations, and probably get an opportunity for themselves.
Destroy them in their rotations. But right now, TSM is being caught into a different location. Look at that. Team Nugget, they managed to take one player down. That's going to be Ninja Jord. But again, Ninja Jord has been revived back to his life. On the other side, Skylightz Gaming, Gamla Boy is making sure to take one player down from the sides of Team Forever, and he will be making sure to eliminate him completely there and there. Velocity Gaming will be losing one of their players. That's going to be Daljit. Okay, that's eventually Kratos even down to the ground. So it's two players. It's a 2v4 fight. 420 OP this time not getting caught into two different angle. Will be trying his level best to utilize that upper angle. But again, Kratos is... it was just waiting for a revival, will be caught, and there you go. Kratos will be eliminated completely. With this team, Velocity lost one of their players, and team Chemin Esports got
nice.
one for themselves. The grenade was really nice, but again, Delta PG has to satisfy himself with the damages that he dished.
Absolutely. Now, the most important point is this. In the beginning itself, try to use your throwables. Try to restrict players before they come close to you. But eliminated is going to be the side of Skylightz Gaming from far away with 0 finishes. And I do believe that's going to affect them a lot when it comes to the overall points table, because they're already having a bad moment. Now, VLT on the other side is going to be Destro putting up another grenade. A beautiful one this time. But ultimately, VLT was clever enough to move away. But through those pixels came the shot coming in from the side of Papa. Papa Naimanange pushed in, and he's going to be so happy with the performance. 4 frags for the team. Early pickings for the side of Chemin Esports. It looks like Chemin Esports as well as Team EXO, these are the teams who are actually taking things very, very seriously in this game.
Taking things seriously is something that is most important. Avi is being caught at a different angle, and there you go. Avi not just down to the ground, but Aquanox will be making sure to confirm him. Aquanox, well, you know, right, Erica, the man, the MVP of the previous match, and the one who is already #1 in the top fraggers list, is just looking forward to gain as much as he can, so that there is no other name besides him to be at that #1 position. Out of all this being said and done, we have the sides of Team Enigma losing one of their players but gaining 3 finishes. What do you think, Arka? Is it a good deal or a decent one?
I do believe it's a decent one so far, only if they choose to play for placement points. If they become a little more overconfident and try to come out in a very, a little aggressive mode, if they choose to pick up more kills for themselves, they lose another player, then we all know it's going to be hard for them when it comes to the final circle itself. So I think for now it's a good trade in the position they're holding in the overall points table. But all these things said and done, I really want to see how things are turning out in the circle, as the zone has happened right to the center of the map, prioritizing Pochinki at this point of time. And I really want to see the next shift is going to allow everybody else to look around wherever they're standing, because ultimately we have seen whenever the zone happens like this, the sudden shift towards the northern side or the northwestern side can actually change the overall strategy. We can see that the drop is happening towards the side of Rozok, and we can expect the zone to actually form in towards the northern side of the map. But as always, Georgiopol, shooting range, Yasnaya, Rozok, all the northern part of the map is completely abandoned. So let's see who's going to be choosing to go to that place as soon as the next zone is formed.
I am not agreeing to you on this. I want a zone in Pochinki, and there you go. There you go. Pochinki. Yeah, exactly. Pochinki is a fight. Pochinki is a place where I've been waiting to see people fighting. And again, if I get a chance to see that, it's going to be really amazing. On the other side, GodL, the sides of Team Godlike, they really didn't get enough from the previous match, but right now they are
anything in the previous match.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They didn't get anything in the previous match, but right now they got themselves into a fight. Neo will be trying to take one player down. He took one. Will he be able to? Okay, there you go. Such is Karthik, not just down to the ground. He will be eliminated completely. For a moment, I felt like Neo, not a right decision to get off the vehicle, but he nailed that perfectly. He got one finish for his entire team, and right now, Clutch God is looking forward to more and more information, but so is Shadow from the sides of Team TSM.
Absolutely. Now, Team TSM also realized that there are teams in front of them and also teams from another angle. But I really like the approach coming in from the side of GodL. They're going to cover Celsius from all different directions. And, that is going to bring Celsius in a divided attention. And that is when they'll be able to strike. Johnny comes in from an angle where, one player of Celsius actually knows. Johnny wanted to, spray his gun at a position. But ultimately, Clutch God gets taken down because he was going in for a pre-fire and ultimately had to pay the price for it. Clutch God needs to be revived. Vexy gets taken down on the other side. It's going to be Neo also getting taken on. Johnny has a lot of job to do in his hand. Max is in front of him. He's already used most of his mag, but ultimately was able to land the perfect shot at the final moments, and he'll be able to revive Neo, or probably Gil will be able to revive Neo. Somewhere when I felt that Gil had lost all his life, he was surviving with just 1 HP, and ultimately it was Johnny doing the job with Gil, and it's a very good trade-off so far because they've got 4 finishes with all 4 men standing.
What a start to the day. GodL, 4 finishes with 4 surviving players. Yes, it really worked into their favors, but again, they need to be careful with the upcoming fights. Look at their utilities. Look at their helmet. Look at their armors. It's dealing a lot of damage. They need to first find something new, patch themselves up completely, and then look forward to go on rotations. If they rotate as they are right now, it can cause them a problem. Talking more about Jonathan here, he is trying to scout as much information as he can. On the sides of Team EXO, they are holding a shore. They are holding an edge right now. Always Bolte right in front of EXO Punk. Any moment, even 1 pixel of Always Bolte or even 1 pixel of head is seen here, it can cause a lot of problems. As you know, right, Arka, these players play a pixel game. They just wait for a 1 pixel to be visible, and if that is the case, they just don't wait any moment to pop the head off there and there.
Absolutely. Now, Team X on the other side are holding an angle which, I was looking forward for many teams to hold whenever the zone has happened over here. Because over here, you have a bird eye view of what's happening around. But ultimately, they also have to realize that they're bursting the vehicles. And in case the zone shifts away from them, that is when the decimation can go against them. But all these things said and done, OGs are also trying to hold an angle where they have some view of the whole map in front of them. At least the northern side of the map in front of them. GodL, we all know, is on the northern side. The complete northern side of the Pochinki itself. So every team which are actually fighting for the top of the table are actually doing their best. But ultimately, Team EXO will be one of those teams to watch out for, because if they get another winner chicken dinner for themselves with an average of 5 to 6 kills, they're going to put up so much difference between themselves and the others that is going to be very, very hard for them to get taken down. As I said, vehicles were bursted, but now Team EXO is actually picking up whatever was left out and then trying to push in towards the side of Pochinki, whereas the rest of the teams are already there. School is abandoned. The northern side of Pochinki is abandoned. Let's see who's going to take a rotation towards that.
Everyone right now is looking forward to the down areas, as you said, the northern areas. But what if the zone shifts to the city areas of Pochinki? It can be so much of chaos there and there. With the vehicle burst, Punk will be saying a goodbye to the entire lobby. Exo Snacks will be down to the ground, not just down, but completely eliminated there. And their does believe that he can survive in a complete open area, but that is going to be difficult. Out of all these being said and done, we even have Godlike fighting it out for more number of frags. Always Bolte is being confirmed. Exo Fierce. Was it Team Exo getting eliminated completely, Arka? Yes.
Absolutely. That is what I said. They are holding a position, destroying their own vehicles. And if the zone had shifted away from them, decimation was against them. And ultimately, that is what happened. It's important for you to hold the center of the circle once you cross the 3rd zone, right? So if you are even in the 3rd zone, try to hold the center of the circle with such kind of hard cover that you have minimum blind spot. And such kind of priority is only helping players. But whereas Team EXO wanted to play from the corners, and after the 3rd zone was formed and everybody were coming in close proximity due to the, rotation clashes, it was inevitable for Team EXO to actually get eliminated. Now Soul is going to be attacking out the side of Team Nuggets, and let's not forget that Team Nuggets have played an amazing game today so far. They picked up some decent averages, to be specific, but now with Soul in front of them, and if they pick up Akshat from the beginning itself, I do believe that they can do the damage against the side of Team Soul.
Akshat, a really important player for the entire squad. Yes, I do agree that each and every player here plays a crucial role. But Akshat, yes, if one player is even down to the ground, and to be specific, if it's Akshat, it can cause a lot of problem. And then, as we say, the caster curse really hits different here. Akshat is down to the ground. Team Nugget will be trying to confirm him with those grenade, but No, the grenade won't get a connection. Goblin is there already at his back to revive him back to his life. But Drigger, there you go. You just see Drigger. He is trying to go away as much as he can. Team Nugget, they have already set their mind to get into a fight with them. But what they are not sure of right now is the players of Team Forever. You see, behind those shack, we have two players from Team Forever even waiting. And eventually, one mistake or one opportunity Team Forever gets, it can cause Team Nugget or Team Soul a lot of problems.
But ultimately, they picked up Akshat at this point of time. And you know, when you wake up a sleeping lion, what could be the story for you?
Yes.
And I do believe that if Akshat tries to retaliate against the side of Team Nuggets, now they could be they could become a patty in the sandwich, as because OGs are also pushing in towards them. Soul also has a very good opportunity over here. The only two teams which are outside the circle, or three teams outside the circle, is going to be TSM, GodL, and 7Cs, because the rest of the teams have already in the vehicles. They'll be somehow making it inside the circle. Late rotation inside the circle and trying to third party people who are fighting it out would be a better options. But for now, Team 8-bit holding a very good spot in the dunes will have to realize that, you know, they might get sandwiched, and due to which we can see that Tsunami probably is the first person to get taken down, and he needs some revival immediately, even though he has some rocks to cover around. We can see that he's in the crosshairs of Entity, Enigma, Entity, Mayavi, and then we saw the side of Team Nuggets, Godlike. All of these teams can actually crash in towards the side of Team 8-bit and take them out.
They can crash, but right now again, Soul Akshat is being picked off. Soul Akshat being picked off twice in just like 4 or 5 minutes is something that they need to be really worried about. At this moment, you are just taking a lot of damage on your armor, on your helmet. That is not something that works in your favor at the end circles. Potato Hill contestment, there you go. It's going to be Team Mayavi and Team Godlike getting into a fight. Team Mayavi nearby, but not so near to get into a fight, I guess. Yes, there you go. GodL Gill, he will be going in for a flank or a rotation, that I guess we'll get to know. But right now, look at Neo. He is looking good with that buggy he has. On the other side, you talk about Team Mayavi. Yes, it is going to be a fight, but Team Mayavi, they are not sure of their back as of now, and they are just looking forward. They are just looking to take a team down that is right in front of them, rather than a team that is standing right behind them.
Absolutely. Now, I really like the rotation coming in from the side of Gil. He crossed over the side of Team Mayavi and somehow made it inside the circle. Probably he'll be looking out for a shack or probably a dunes which he can work out with. Ultimately, they're going to be shot taken against him, and now he's wondering where to stop himself, and somehow he stops in a place where he feels he won't be detected. But he's put up a smoke. This smoke is going to be so big that everybody are going to concentrate their firepower towards them. It's going to be Team Mayavi in the crosshairs of GodL at this point of time. GodL have to realize that this is an unwanted fight which they are trying to register, because if that goes against them, then again GodL will be dropping down when it comes to the overall points table. TSM on the other side had a very good compound for themselves. Now, early rotation, as I said, when it comes to this circle is pretty much necessary. There's going to be a chunk on the western side of the map which is pretty much open for anybody to go in, as Johnny and his teammates are rotating around. Neo gets knocked off. Johnny's not going to stop himself. He knows that he's the free man, but ultimately he's walking into the jaws of the side of Team Entity, and in case he gets tagged off over here, things can actually go wrong towards the side of GodL. And as I was speaking, it's going to be very easy for any squad to actually clear off the side of GodL at this point of time. TSM are making it inside the circle. Clutch God has to realize that Ninja Jod is in front of him rather than healing, trying to take him out, because in case Ninja Jod detects him, we all know how hard it's going to be, but finally it tags him out. Shadow on the other side is going to go in for a trade. Now Gil has to come and save his teammates, or I don't think so it's going to be easy for the side of TSM to for the side of GodL to survive this. Gil on the other side is putting up as many smokes as possible as he's playing for survival points. The vehicle has been blasted. He's trying to cover between those two, places. TSM, one more player. This is how you maintain the synergy. You're going to carry your teammate inside the circle and then go in for a revival. Shadow does the job as he picks up Ninja, and I do believe that GodL is going to be left out with just one player.
Just one player who is trying to survive as much as he can. But yes, true said, TSM did a great job carrying his teammate out of the blues, taking him into the whites and then reviving him back. On the other side, TN Pro is trying his level best to take a white with the sides of Team OGs there. Soul Akshat once again down to the ground with every fight that Team Soul is taking. Why is it Akshat going to the ground? And this time he is not just down, but he will be eliminated completely. Team Soul managed to take one finish finish for themselves, but whereas they have lost one of their player and one important player. Aquanox on the other side will be having a 1v1 situation, but Aquanox was caught by Manya with an AKM landing shots directly onto his head. He will be taking him down there and there. Right now, Manya and Edamino are the two surviving players. Manya will be taking Shadow down as well. Trigger will be taking TN Pro down with those vehicles straight right into his face. And you look at this, Team Mayavi is left with two players, and same is, if I'm not wrong, same is for the sides of Team TSM. NT Dark Lord caught by 8-bit Juicy, not just down to the ground but completely eliminated there and there. Manya is caught into a different angle. That's going to be Blaze trying to take him down, but I doubt that is going to happen. Gil is already into the crosshairs of one of the players but is not yet down to the ground. Ninja Jord, there you go, in the blues. He tries to provide a cover fire, but not for a long period of time will he be able to survive, and that is Team TSM getting eliminated completely.
Absolutely. Now, Gil is in a very, very wrong position. You know, he might get taken down over here, but he sees that the side of Team Mayavi is in front of him. Daku, that's going to be a free kill, which is going to be picking up at this point of time. And that is going to be an elimination probably coming in against the side of Team Mayavi. And that's a very, very good job done by the side of GodL Gil. Now, this is one player who is actually playing like how OAS plays when he's the last player alive for his team. You know, what I'm meaning to say is that there is no comparison between these two players. Their playing style is pretty much different, but their survival style is pretty much the same. They tend to go into such corners of the map and try to survive that nobody's going to detect them. So if Gil is able to bring his team into the top 3 or the top 4, I do believe that GodL is going to be very, very happy with the performance in this map, especially because they've already got 5 kills in their name. So all these things said and done, there's going to be a huge group of fights happening, as GodL is right now in the crosses of not 1 or 2 or 3. He's going to be in the crosses of many, many teams. All he has to do is make it inside some covers. He somehow makes it inside the covers, but ultimately I don't know how much of a HP is left out for him, as throwables is going to be inevitable against him. But now it's going to be 8-bit trying to, allowing somebody to, get closer to them, as Team Forever is getting eliminated from the other corner. Oh, GodL eliminated.
Yes, GodL eliminated there and there. He was trying his level best to survive, but not for a longer period of time will that be the case. Soul right now is stuck into a watchtower or a lighting tower, whatever do you say that, but they are stuck here. Pew Pew will be trying to jump out of that window, but again, jumping down is not a decision that is really working in their favor. Look at Pew Pew, is running really low on his HP, managing to take players down, but once again, what if one more grenades enters the shack? Goblin, there you go, will be taking 2 players down with a blast, with bombarding of grenades on that vehicle, and that's going to be Team Soul securing 3 finishes for themselves. Player 3, once again, these players, they do need to patch themselves up and look forward on how do they get out of this place. Look at them, Arka, look at them. They are out of the zone and they are stuck there. Being out of the zone is not a problem, but being stuck in a small shack or in a small watchtower is going to be a problem. You talk about watchtower, the name itself seems that people do have a watch on you, but right now Goblin is having all his eyes on Believe. Enigma Shaggy was the one to take Believe off completely. Soul once again trying to figure out how do they get out of that position.
Oh no! Did you just see that, GodL Gil was still alive?
What?
I don't know how he
How
survived that, but somehow made it inside the circle and is a lone man, still keeping the race, hope. Oh, I spoke too soon, as he's gonna get finished. Eventually, somewhere when I felt that, he could have been staying alive, I think Goblin landing the final blow against him. But yes, as we said, he has done an amazing job so far for the team, trying to survive and get 1 or 2 placement points for himself. But all these things said and done, 7 Cs versus the side of Team Forever as well as Soul. Now Soul has got the very good cover, but ultimately they'll have to push in inside the circle. Pew Pew will be the person who try to get into the circle, but ultimately gets taken down. Now a smoke trail is going to be put up by the side of Soul 3 player, and is trying to push in. We all know through the smokes there could be some shots which might be going in against them. Entity Noob versus Chemin is going on, as Pew Pew is going to be touched at the final moment by the side of Soul player 3, and he'll be able to revive him, and he's just hoping that the smoke is going to open as quickly as possible, as shots are being dealt against him as well. It's going to be Enigma doing the job against them. Goblin is going to put a Saggy, and ultimately Enigma also have understood that there's another player of Soul in front of them. So the complete concentration right now is going to be eliminating the final man of Soul over here, so that they can take them out of the equation. But all these things said and done, the circle in the open fields, this is something I was wanting to watch.
circle in the complete open area is causing more and more problems. Chemin Esports Destro is down to the ground. Sarang eventually finds him down. Team Soul gets eliminated with 3 finishes for themselves, and this is why I always said that getting out of the zone, staying out of the zone is not a problem, but getting stuck in a position is a problem, and that is something that will eventually make them go down on the 7th position itself. Top 6 teams with 13 alive players is what we have. Nexus, again, this player is down to the ground. He's low on his HP, but he is a lone survival. He is finding himself in front of 4 people. That's going to be team 8-bit Juicy right now is caught into a different angle by sides of team Entity, and he will be confirmed there and there with the Molotov connections right in the face of Shadow. It is difficult for Shadow to go really aggressive towards the upper areas. That's going to be Madman there, but Shadow, he will be trying to go in for one more Molotov connection. Well, unfortunate for him, he couldn't connect that, but again, he is trying his level best. Team Entity wouldn't let that one last player go, and there you go. Troy with that grenade can cause a problem. That grenade goes right at the face of 8-bit Madman, and with some sprays landing directly towards his head, Entity will be making sure to completely eliminate one more team. So much is happening here, so much. Team 8-bit also getting eliminated. Team 7C with 2 finishes with 4 surviving players. What are your expectations? Who is going to be the top 2 teams fighting it out?
I strongly believe one team is going to be Entity and another one could be the side of 7Cs, because ultimately 7Cs have come in from a corner where nobody's there to backstab them. They have their eyes set on the side of team Entity, but this early skirmish between the side of team 7Cs and Entity is going to make both the teams pretty vulnerable. As we can see, an exchange has come in from both the directions. Noob will be the last man surviving for the side of Entity. With the blink of an eye, we are able to see that, Entity is left out with just 2 players. Now Troy is to the center of the circle and Noob is coming in from the other corner. But on the other side, when we to speak about the side of 7Cs, they have all 4 men still alive. I know that the final player Savitar just got eliminated, but that is going to give them an opportunity. Papa Nahi Manenge is still going to spray as many bullets as possible to one corner, so that it's going to be easy for him. He's got a buggy right in front of him for a cover for a brief period of time. It's going to be one more player from the side of 7Cs getting taken down thanks to Troy's AKM spray or the GodL spray which came in, and ultimately good throwables would have been one of the better options for both of these players, but ultimately they have used all their resources, and now all they have to is rely on the gun game itself. Entity is going to be clearing out the side of 7Cs if I'm not wrong, and if they have done the job, no, they have not done the job, as Sprays and Prince are still alive. Now Spray God is going to be healing himself to the fullest potential. Entity is also left out with one last man standing. Now Chemin and Enigma on the other side, these 2 players are trying to play as safe as possible. The only problem is both of them are outside the circle, and that could be a little bit of a problem for them.
That can be a bigger problem if they don't find an opportunity to have themselves inside the
what a
zone. But
shot.
Noob has been caught into a different angle. Spray God, what a beautiful spray it was. That will be 7C securing one more for themselves. Right now, 7C, they have a great advantage of winning this map with 2 surviving players, whereas you talk about Chemin Esports, it's just one last player, and that's going to be Papa Nahi Manenge. What a beautiful name this guy has got. With every time he's on my screen, I do repeat myself on that. But focusing more on the sides of team Enigma right now, the last surviving player, what is he doing? Where he is just waiting on the corners of the blues. No one wants to be in the blues right now, but everyone is trying to go and focus towards the center of the zone. One more string, and that's completely focusing, that's completely favoring the sides of team Chemin Esports once again. So 7C and Enigma, they right now need to wait and think patiently of how can they make an approach towards the play zone, because if that is wrong, that is not pinpoint precise, it can cause a lot of problem. Prince down to his belly completely. Eggy, no, it can be a mistake. I would say it can be a huge mistake of him compromising his location, but he tried his level best, and there you go. Eggy is caught play zone. That's going to be play zone taking Spray got down, but
no.
Prince will be confirming one. That's going to be a 1v1 situation between Papa Nahi Manenge and 7C Prince. Arka, it's a nail-biting situation, as Chemin Esports has not got
Absolutely.
any of their chicken dinner, whereas 7C, this is a much needed victory for them to boost their confidence and momentum.
No. The reason why I'm cutting you out
Yeah,
is Prince
yeah.
7C Prince on the other side, escort of Papa Nahi Manenge. I wanted to say that he had an angle in through which he can take him out, but ultimately I don't
Exactly.
know how at the nth moment he was able to connect that. But he had got 8 health kits in his name. So somewhere I felt that in case he won't be able to find that final player, probably he will be going out for a heal battle, and that's how he'll be able to survive. But 7Cs are going to be very very happy with this performance, because ultimately that most wanted winner chicken dinner to boost their confidence has finally fallen into their pouches, and from here on the confidence boost is going to help them acquire more and more of such games, and ultimately come on the top of the table, or probably by the end of the day reach the top 5 at least.
Reaching the top 5 or the top 6 is the main aim of all these teams right now. You know, right? When you are in top 6, you get rewarded. When you are not, it's just a learning. And I know I've been repeating this n number of times, but the only reason that I do repeat myself on this is it's the 5th day of grand finals, and after one more day, it's going to be the final day. And you know how important each and every day, each and every match, and each and every fight is. So you need to make sure that you don't miss out on anything right now. But 7C, a much needed victory is what they got themselves. We and Arka, me and Raider a while ago were on desk, and we were discussing the same thing. The teams like 7C, teams like Velocity, who are still down on the 15th and the 16th position, they need to do something today itself. As you know, right, if they do it today, it can make a change, but doing it tomorrow, I doubt it will make any kind of changes.
Absolutely. All these things said and done, I really love the way the game has come forward. But one big mistake coming in from the side of GodL, which was pretty much evident, is Gil probably was leading the team. He was like, "You guys try to follow me. I'll try to make it inside the circle." He goes and lands up in a position where he's like, "You guys can't come closer to me. You guys have to decide on where you guys want to land yourself." And ultimately, when we saw that, the side of Jonathan coming in towards the side towards Entity, he was pretty overconfident that he can actually take the players down. But ultimately, if he had gone behind that building and then stopped his buggy, I think it was a better option. He thought that the enemies were rather in towards the side of Pochinki, not towards his left, and Entity took advantage of it. And from there on, Entity was actually assaulting every single player because they had got the best spot in the house. The prediction of the zone was absolutely perfect, coming in from the side of Entity as well as the side of 7Cs. 7Cs were in the dunes. Somewhere I felt that they might get taken on, but they survived really really well when it comes to this game.
I completely agree with you. Each and everything was really looking good. And as said, Jonathan, it was a big mistake. But let's talk more of what has happened with the starting fight between Chemin Esports and Team Velocity. Team Chemin Esports, they did a great job. The use of Molotov, the use of utilities was really so pinpoint precise that they managed to completely eliminate the sides of Team Velocity with 1, 2, and 3 players down to the ground. Team Chemin Esports decided to go ham, and that's where Team Velocity was eliminated. Team TSM, teams like TSM, GodL, they were doing good until the second zone, but after that everything just kept on just kept on falling apart. Team Mayavi, how did the last player end? It was one grenade from the sides of Gil that just ended everything for him.
Absolutely. Now, 7C's over here, we can see that Sarang is got taken down and he had to be revived. And ultimately, that is the point when inside the dunes, there could be some grenades being popped up towards them. Entity over here as well was performing so well. I know that 7C's on the other corner was still suffering. Sarang was still not coming up on his knees. But ultimately, they didn't bother about it. They started to decimate players who were nearest to them and then picked up their players and then tried to make it inside the circle. Troy was also playing it very clever. He found out, Sarang at one corner. He tries to put him down, but ultimately Spray God, that every single time we have seen some team taking a winner chicken dinner behind that blessed drop which has come in front of them. It is a very clever game for them, because you need to understand that if there is a drop inside the final circle, you need to push towards it, because that is going to give you the hardest cover possible.
Yes, I do completely agree with that. MVP of the match, Enigma Shaggy. What did this man do? He took 6 finishes, whereas his contribution is 66.67 finish. 66.67%. My bad. I'm sorry for that. That's going to be the MVP of the match for match 27. Shaggy from the sides of Enigma, yes, he played a crucial role, he played an important role here. But once again, most of the job is done by this man only. Look at that, 67.67% is a huge of a contribution. On the other side, you talk about star of the match, we already discussed going all out, that's going to be Shaggy. Soul Goblin will be the one for best companion, that's 2 revival. And if I'm not wrong, both the revivals were provided to Akshat, as Akshat was down to the ground twice, and the third time he was eliminated completely. And 7C Prince, the last guy, the last surviving guy who managed to put the final nail in the coffin, that's going to be finisher, the title he gets with 3 total of finishes.
Absolutely. Now, the most important point for us to see is that I do believe that, probably we would have viewed this in a minimum of just 10% of all the games we have played. The 3 different teams are the star of the match. We have
Yeah,
Enigma,
yeah.
Soul, and 7Cs coming in over here. So I do believe that, we from here on we can expect the same kind of formation to be forming until and unless we find only one team, with old foemen standing and trying to take down enemies. But the points table for the previous match looks like this, as 7Cs is going to be securing 22 points for themselves with 7 finishes. Enigma on the other side have raked up almost 9 finishes for themselves, so a total of 19 points. It's just that they were betrayed with that winner chicken dinner, or else they would have had much better points in their name. Chemin Esports on the other side, good to see their name over here coming up over here, because ultimately these were the teams who were in need of a winner chicken dinner for themselves. See, Team Forever, Team Entity, Chemin Esports, Enigma, 7Cs, these were the teams on the bottom, if I'm not wrong. So slowly these teams are picking up pace, and it's a very good thing to see. But ultimately GodL was able to put up 5 finishes, due to which they are positioned at a place where it's not going to bother them much. But ultimately Team EXO going down with one kill, Team TSM going out with 6 points. These are the teams who have to be careful, because ultimately 1 or 2 games like this, the others are going to pick up the pace.
Look at the other side. Skylightz Gaming, EXO, Nugget, Orangutan, and Team Soul. These teams who have gained chicken dinners, who have gained victory right now, they are not looking really good. And look at this. Did we expect this coming, Arka? I mean, the first side of overall standing, not much has changed with the signal, with the side that we already have on our screens, the symbol at the end of each and every team. It seems like they haven't gained so much, but at the same time they haven't lost so much, and it's just like nothing so much has changed. Team EXO once again leading the charts with a total of 292. I just felt like Team EXO could cross the 100-digit mark with one upcoming match, but whereas I guess, if I'm not wrong, they gained 2 or 3 points. I am not yet sure. I'm really confused today after
In the previous
seeing.
game, yeah, they
Yeah.
just had 1 or 2 points. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So yeah, that's what I'm telling, right? We expected the Team EXO to cross a 300 mark, whereas they are on 292 right now. Team Soul on 267. Celsius still on the 3rd position with 248, but right now they need to be careful. Even one match wrong here can push them to the 4th, and Skylightz Gaming or Team 8-bit can come up, as they have a total of 248 and 245 for themselves.
Absolutely. Now we have to look out for the differences which is coming up over here, because 182 points is what the side of Enigma is holding, and from here on we can see the points starts to deplete very fast. Apart from the side of Team Forever, Team Mayavi goes down by 20, and from then on Team Entity drops, is pretty close. Team 7Cs drops by another 10, but Velocity is still struggling to put up the 3-pointer for themselves. I'm not telling that this is one of those teams which is not capable enough of coming in and playing this tournament, but they played really well when it comes to the semis, and they are also I'm so sorry, they are also one of the invited teams, if I'm not wrong. So they proved themselves before, so it's important for them to pick up that pace. Probably it's about the positioning points which they're still not able to rake up when it comes to the match. But ultimately I can understand this, that for the side of Velocity Gaming, they need to understand 2-3 things. One, try to check out where your assaulter is. Don't try to stay inside one single room. Even in the previous game we saw that 1 or 2 grenades was not only dealing damage for one player, but it was dealing damage for more than one player, due to which they had to face a very bad ending.
I do completely agree with that. Velocity Gaming, if you talk about 2 or 3 points, I guess the only thing right now I have in my mind for them is is the coordination between the players. You see
Yeah,
that, right?
synergy.
Yeah, synergy, coordination. We have so many words that we can put forth, but it's just that you are sitting beside someone that you trust. Yes, that is a good thing. But right now, the synergy is what matters the most here. And if synergy is not built, I guess you know what is happening, right? They're still struggling to, as I said, they're still struggling to match that three-digit mark. But yes, with one upcoming match, if even one or two good matches are looking good for them, I guess we can see them up there. But right now, schedule the three teams that are sparkling right now is going to be Team EXO for getting the first chicken dinner of the day on the map of Erangel. Miramar, it was Team TSM, and on Erangel back again, Team 7C got a much needed comeback, a much needed chicken dinner.
Absolutely. Now we have to see whether the other teams, the teams on the top of the table, will they be trying to play for placement points from here on and then try to take the fight in the final circles, because ultimately they are all looking forward for the performance coming in from the side of X. So every time a match finishes up, they'll be calculating the difference between these two and how will they be able to catch it up. Miramar is completely in the hands of TSM. Finally, TSM is able to perform well when it comes to the map of Miramar. But let's not forget that Team Soul is also pretty strong in this map, and this is the map which has throughout there is a formation coming in throughout all these games. Soul starts to perform exceptionally well in the fourth map of the day every single time, and the chances of them getting a successful winner chicken dinner is the highest when it comes to the fourth map. So let's see whether they'll be able to repeat the same history today, where they can put up some points for themselves. But ultimately the most important point is going to be this, that the teams below the side of Team EXO, how will they be strategizing to take down the side of Team EXO, because the numbers have already crossed the 30 pointers. So it's important for them to actually eliminate the side of Team EXO right now, because with the left out days of the finale, it's going to be hard for them to catch up to 30 points, even though it's just 12 matches up ahead, because EXO is very, very good at putting up 10 to 15 points, or probably even 8 to 10 points on an average in every single game.
I do completely agree with that. You were talking about exo. I know I may be repeating this topic as I discussed it with Raider a while ago, but Arka, I would like to mention you one thing before we go to the player scam. I really wish that exo scam is the first scam we see, because you see the player scam, you see a blackboard put behind. It's a whiteboard, yeah. It's a whiteboard put behind with divided two sections, and one side it is the mistakes noted down. This is the most beautiful part of this entire camera thing that we come across with each passing match. What these players are doing, they are waiting, they are writing down the mistake. It's not that the column is left empty completely. No, it's filled with mistakes that these players are doing, and still after doing mistakes they are leading the charts. And this is how you do it. This is how you do it in
Yeah.
a real proper manner, right?
Absolutely. As I said, any team's success is going to lie on how they're going to rectify the mistakes. So, yeah, every time I've told this, that, you need to go back, do that homework. You need to understand what your mistake is, and then come in into the game. That takes a lot of time, and EXO have got that right kind of synergy within themselves. With all the professional tournaments they have played, they are still ready to accept that we are a team which do make mistakes, and they're ready to write it down. I don't know whether it's going to be the same. I do believe that 99% of the boot camp would also be doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably not jotting it down on a paper. They would have exchanged the thoughts, telling that this is going to be the point where we are not being successful, but ultimately writing it down and trying to execute it is going to be the side of Team EXO. Good observation coming in from your side. And I do believe that from here on, all the other teams will be looking forward for that camps before they step into the game, because they would have started to strategize what is the mistake which is written over there, and try to play out something else with a counter strategy coming up.
Counter strategies, new strategies. There's so much to discuss, right? We always talk that when you repeat a same strategy, it's just so readable to the enemies, and it eventually happens. If we observe it carefully, when the strategy is repeated, it keeps on being so readable to the enemies that they feel like, okay, they are going to do this. Just let's do something that they didn't imagine of, and that's how it is really difficult for them. But out of all this being said and done, the next map, the upcoming match, it's going to be Miramar, and you know how difficult this map is. Miramar is something that can really be good, but at the same time, it can be worse. If I give you an example, I have a big example of Godlike. Godlike on the map of Miramar secured 35 points for themselves, whereas on the
Yep.
next coming map, they just faced a big downfall, whereas they couldn't secure anything. So this is how Miramar works.
Absolutely. Now, the most important point, as I said, we have to watch out for how Soul is going to be countering this game. And at the same time, I really want to see how GodL is going to be performing this game as well, because this is going to be one of the most crucial map for the side of GodL in case they have to catch up to the third position. Or else, if they don't perform well, if they get eliminated like how they got eliminated in the previous map of Miramar, I don't think so it's going to be easy for them. Clashing in towards the side of TSM was the right kind of opening TSM needed. When you know that you took down the big dogs when it comes to a lobby, that gives you a different kind of a confidence that now taking them out, we can take down anybody. And I do believe that that is how TSM had boosted themselves to secure that winner chicken dinner. So let's see whether whether GodL will be able to take redemption against them and all the rest of the lobby, as we'll be stepping into the next map. Ladies and gentlemen, do not forget to share it among your friends so that they can come in and enjoy the game over here, because ultimately it's coming down to the wire. Everybody are all from the first position to the ninth position, everybody still have a fighting chance to the title itself.
Everybody does have a fighting chance here, and as you said, share it to your friends. I'm just trying to make you guys understand that if you haven't downloaded Loco yet, you are going to miss the actions. Arka, I doubt
Absolutely.
these actions are worth missing. I mean, as an audience, when I get an off from this desk, as an audience, when I go back, I just don't do anything. I just sit back, I just download Loco, and I'm like, no man, these fights are something that are just giving so much great experience. Not just experience, but nail biting movement. It's like butterflies in your stomach of what is going to happen next. So yeah, make sure you guys download Loco, as the third map is done and dusted, and any moment now we will be switching towards Loco. So don't miss any of the actions, and let your friends know about that. If you haven't liked, share, and subscribe, that's a mandatory thing you do when we started itself. So make sure you do that. As well. But proceeding forward with the discussions that we were having a while ago, Miramar. Whenever I hear this map, I just hear Los Leones. I don't know
Oh.
why, but yeah, whenever I just hear this name, I feel like okay, Los Leones once again. So what do you think after hearing this name, Miramar?
Uh, these days, I'm starting to link Los Leones with my co-caster Lucifer. He loves the map of Miramar whenever the fight ends up at Los Leones, and he loves to cast, that section of the game itself. But it's important for everybody to realize that, see, I do believe that Los Leones is one of the most challenging places for all the teams to hold a position and also challenge an opponent. But ultimately, every single time seeing the same kind of strategy, I know that the early rotations can bring in a different kind of strategy for all these teams. But ultimately, we have to realize in the map of Miramar there are few places which are still untouched. I really want to see a game happening towards the side of Valley, that is going to be towards the side of Prison at the southern western map, where the islands are pretty much divided. There are waters you can go in and heal battle. So I want something to happen over there, or probably towards the northeastern side, towards the side of Campo, where there's a lot of open fields. It's going to be like an wrangle match without any bushes in front of them. So all long range battles is also going to be visible. So something like this is what I'm hoping for.
This time I am completely agreeing with you. I mean, it's me being so happy right now that yes, I do have someone who is looking for those areas that I am seeking right now. Yes, the areas down there is something that are really untouched. No one really wishes to go to those sides, and that's why I guess the zone even is like, okay, why if no one is going there, why will I eventually go there? So I mean, yeah, it's just a kind of funny joke, or maybe not, but eventually I do feel like yes, these players. The locations such as Impala, you talked about down there, that's Del Valley and all those Los Higos areas. They are just so much interesting to watch. But there you go, Team Exo, Team Orangutan. We have the players cam ready on our screens.
Absolutely no. We can see the seriousness building up in each of these boot camps. They're all talking to one another before the game. They are understanding what is to be played and how are things to be played. Few of them have smiles on their face because something is working out for them today, and few of them are still wondering how to get things done. So let's see how that is all going to pan out or turn out as we're going to be stepping into the game. Team Forever is going to be left out with one solo man who seems like he's going to be carrying this, the whole weight on his shoulder. But ultimately the flight path looks like this towards the side of, starting from the side of Junkyard, ending up towards the side of Trailer Park. It's to the northern side of the map, giving us a little bit of a ray of hope that the zone this might not go towards the side of Los Leones, but let's see what's going to happen.
I am not saying it this time. I always say no loss Leonis, and eventually it backfires me. So yeah, I'm just leaving it to you and to the BGMI gods to see what the upcoming fly path is really like. But talking more about Impala, there you see one team that's going to be Velocity, if I'm not wrong, going towards the sides of Impala. So is the sides of Team Entity. Up there in the areas of El Azhar, I guess that's going to be Team Orangutan. So many drop clashes. Well, I guess that can be a drop clash between Orangutan and Chemin Esports. One single player, but no, there you go. The player decides not to get into anything right now, just focus on having something really good for yourself. But the clashes in the areas of Impala is something that I'm really looking forward to. More further to the areas of Picardo, Power Grid, Graveyard, we may see one or two teams going, but Arka, do you have anything to say about this?
Uh,